Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
No, I'm not Peyton Ansley John Milton. I am the agent authorized to represent Peyton Ansley John Milton as written in all capital letters.
And as to Mr. Milton, is there a competency concern, or is
I am not represented by anybody besides myself. In my sovereign capacity, appreciate you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have an opportunity to speak to him. I read him the reports.
Who is him?
Who is him?
Don't interrupt.
I read him.
You just stay quiet.
Thank you.
I read him the report so that he will understand the charges against him. He didn't wish to hear anything more about his rights, and he does not wish to be represented.
And he does not wish to be represented. That could be the story of the day today. He does not wish to be represented. We are continuing. Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm the Recovery Addict. Welcome. It is good to have you here. Let me say a couple things first. I have to do this one before it goes away. Hang on. I have to say, Linda Jernigan, welcome. 7 months of support. Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate that. All of this is made possible today by Adam Nuske. By Adam Nuske, who won the internet. And Adam, I had you up there. We replaced it with an invite to pin people, or invite to click the like button. But Adam, we know who won. We know who won. You wandered in chat first thing and typed the number 7 and then hit enter. And I'm not sure what you were trying to type. I was not what you were trying to type. I had no clue. But I can't really fault you for that because I think three times on this stream alone, I messed up the starting time of this trial. I had it an hour too late. I had it 12 hours too late. It was awful. There we go. Thank you. Oh, Cashat, thank you. Appreciate it. Math is hard. That was me. Adam, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Now you can click the like button. Yes, I struggle with math. The big hand and the little hand, knowing which number is supposed to point at, was a little confusing for me. I got it on the first try. So we're there now. We're actually getting ready for court to begin right now. So let me just check and see if they're live yet, which they are not. I'm not surprised, honestly. I'm not surprised. I would be surprised if Mr. Farrak made it to court on time today with the dogs and all, and the weather and politics the way they are. He has all the reasons to be late today, and it just might happen. But Adam, you being first in chat. I don't want to miss this. You know what's coming. You own the internet. It's just for today. It's a temporary thing. Luckily for you, because you're required to maintain everything IP related worldwide during internet ownership, which I'm sure you'll do, as have all the previous winners before you. So don't let it slide on your watch. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. KD214 says 8 whole months with my favorite people on the interwebs. Thank you for all you do, RA and mods. Thank you so much, KD214 with the butterfly, I might add. Wonderful to have you guys here. All of you. It's wonderful. 8 months of support is huge. Thank you. It would not be the same without you. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Red Pen says, I have this fantasy that Recovery Addict is working with Judge to run his audio video for his new channel. I need to subscribe to the Judge's channel. I saw the message that came out. And this, honestly, as we're waiting for court to start, we're not going to miss anything. I'll keep an eye on it. But it was a win and a loss at the same time, because we basically mean we have another Zoom court where the judge, we're going to watch court like it's Zoom. That's dollars to donuts. I think that's how it's going to go down. That's what courts are equipped to do. They're equipped to handle cases via Zoom. And when Judge took over and said, I'm going to run the show and I'm going to control where the cameras are looking, he really means the tech guy in the court is going to just set up some cameras and have it pointed around, and that's it. And the judge is going to start and stop the feed. He'll probably butcher it. He'll probably make mistakes. We'll probably miss significant parts, but that's the ruling, and that's where it's going to go. Now, the upside of this is we all get to watch. It'll be open. Every hearing going forward now, as long as this judge ruling holds, the Brian Koberger case, we're going to be able to see and watch. And in a way, everybody wins because everybody has access to the feed. But watch very carefully. There's going to be a decorum order, I bet, that comes out, a ruling on this, and the judge is going to limit who can use the feed. So we're still going to have to apply for media. That's just my guess, because I know he's had some strong feelings about who gets to use the feed and who gets to rebroadcast it. Yes, this is the right stream. It's the right stream. We're here. We're waiting for Thurston County to come back online, as they're just beginning their day right now. And honestly, they've got like 4 minutes. 4 minutes before they start. But we're going to go back with the... not the Sovsit, but the pro se defendant. The pro se defendant, Mr. Farrak, starts he starts getting served the steaming hot pile of justice today is what's going to happen. And he's not going to like how it goes down, I think. Amy H51, welcome to the gallery. 7 months there. Thank you, Amy. Wonderful to have you here. Appreciate your support as well. Crazy Cat Queen says, not to brag or anything, but I finished this 14-day diet in 3 hours and 38 minutes. Hot Pocket cinnamon roll, yum. Wow, that is impressive. I aspire to the same greatness. Crazy Cat Queen, that is awesome. Reverend Beasy is out running for all of us, working off calories as we sit here and enjoy it. So in your honor, Reverend Beasy, I did crack open the Mountain Dew today because I figure I'm almost better, so the doctor probably won't be too upset with me. Let me get rid of my keys in my pocket. I don't need those in here. Let's see, where else did we have? We had some comments here. 20 minus 3 equals 24. Yep, that's we had that math earlier as we're trying to figure out just how many jurors will be left over after eliminating 6. We started with 20, and the defendant reasoned that after eliminating 6 of them, 3 from the prosecution, 3 from the defense, we would have 24 jurors remaining, which was close, but in the wrong direction. Let's see. Anything else? Let me keep watching the feed here. I don't want to miss a second of this. It is so good. Oh, it's good. Let's see. Still not up. Of course, they won't tell us when they go live. We just have to catch it and get lucky. Got a couple streams I'm watching it on, so we'll see. What was your favorite part so far of what we watched yesterday or this morning of yesterday's occurrence in Thurston County? And what are your predictions for what's going to happen here in the next few minutes? I guess we could do a poll. Let's see if I can do a poll really quickly before this starts. Let's try to poll. The first question is, will the pro se defendant arrive on time? Okay, there's question number 1. The poll is up right now. Will the pro se defendant arrive on time? Considering his dogs, the weather, politics, all the other things that the car could break down. The car that he should not be driving, if I understand the facts of the case correctly. Yeah. Let's see. A few of you are giving him the benefit of the doubt. The rest of us are strongly in the no category on no, he will not arrive on time. We realized there were times that he did not show up for court, where he absconded, I guess you could say. And his whole purpose for doing that was because he wanted to see who would show up to arrest him to serve the search warrant. I need to know, is this going to be the city? Is this going to be the state? Is this going to be the sheriff? Who's going to come and serve this warrant? That's my question. That's why I'm not showing up in court. See, 35 degrees, not freezing. So that's one excuse down. The dogs are still an option, though. Because 3 German Shepherds, with one of them being a little vicious. Who's a dog named Jealousy, by the way. Dog named Jealousy. Renamed Jealousy, not the original name. I have actually, if I can interrupt this moment of levity with a bit of seriousness. Yesterday, my cat got hit by a car. I'm not joking. And my daughter was watching. and the car had slowed down quite a bit, and then like the cat was in the middle, and the car went over the top of it, but it bumped it, and the car like stopped, and the cat went shooting out the side, and it ran and hid in the bushes. And I'm like, oh, no, please no. And for two reasons. First of all, I would not want to see a cat get hit by a car. But second of all, my daughter watched it, and I'm scared to death this is what's going to happen, because the cat has zero fear of cars. It literally, when we get in the car to go somewhere, it walks out in the driveway and lays down behind the rear tire. This is something's off in its head. But the cat ran to the bushes, and it sat there. And it was looking around, and it was just didn't want to do anything. And then, lives counter down to 8. And then it came out, and it rubbed up against my leg, and it was like shaking its head a little bit. And then it laid down for a little while, and then it came up and purred and jumped on my lap and ate food and everything. I've like pet it all over to see if there's like any area that's tender. None. It literally got run over, and so we're down to 8. We're down to 8 lives on the cat, and he's okay. He's okay. But the car was going very slowly. It like just bumped him with the hood, not the hood, the piece on the bottom, the plastic. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to throw that in there, but the cat is perfectly normal. Like everything is perfectly normal. The bumper, the part of the car I could not remember. Every car has a bumper. So I wanted to share that with you because yesterday we finally bought the cat a cat toy. After I discovered that it was seeing the reflection of the light off my smartwatch, my Apple Watch, inside a little box we have out there for it to climb in. And it was just going nuts for it. So we're like, this cat needs a toy. So we bought it a cat toy, and it loved it. Absolutely loved it. We hang it from a little swing, and it's a little ball with, catnip inside and a little feather on it, and it's on a little bouncy string, and this thing, he just wrestles with it and fights it and bites it and rolls around and kicks it with his feet and everything. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so after that, then he ran across the road, and he now has a little more respect for cars. So I'm hoping that it was you want to spoil my cat. Gosh, I don't know what cats want. I don't know. I look up online what cats like, and I try to find that. That's what I do. So I don't have a wish list. Okay, we're still watching court. It's 9:03. Nothing yet. Cats have like a million lives. It made me. I'm worried. I'm really worried because here's the problem. I like the cat going across the road, and I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't want the cat to get hit. But I like it going across the road because that's where it goes to the bathroom, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it going to the neighbor's house to do this. Cats love lasers. I'll have to get a laser. Anyway, so I've instructed my daughter that if the cat's going across the road, I need her to not be in the front yard, because the cat will go where the cat wants to go. If you can't pick it up, it's like if it wants to go there, its claws out down on the ground, and you can't hold it. And so I just don't want her there, because if it's across the road and she goes on the front porch, it just runs to her. Like, darn the traffic, come to her. So anyway. If you guys have any tips or advice on that, let me know. Because I thought it was going to be an awful, awful day. All right. Oops, that's the wrong one. Not that one. This one. Okay, still nothing from court. Do I have the time right? Can somebody who's in Thurston County just confirm that it is in fact 9 a.m. there, or are we an hour early? My advice is to let it in forever. I made that comment to my wife, and I said, well, it looks like the cat's an indoor cat now, and she's a solid no on that one. Realizing that we have kids who literally have to medicate with the allergy medication if someone else in the family pets the cat and then washes their hands. They pet the cat, wash their hands, come inside, and the other kid just swells up like a balloon. So we can't do that. Okay, little pen lights. Your children have a blast moving around. I've heard about the lasers, but I'm worried about the kids shining in the cat's eyes. I don't want it to hurt the cat. I mean, I've played with cats with lasers before, but I'm worried that my kids might shine it in the eyes. It's 9:05. Court should be happening. It's not. We're probably waiting for you know who. Okay, we're just hitting the refresh button a million times here to see if we can get a feed. Is there any reason it would go to a different district court other than 4? Should be in the same one it was on before, right? Anyone wants to keep an eye roundabout for anything out of Thurston County just to make sure it doesn't go to another account. Okay. Cat enclosure. We had a gift sent to us of a cat enclosure. Well, it's an outdoor cat house that's heated. So we plug it in. Loves it. Oh my goodness, it loves it. It comes out to eat. It will eat, stretch, clean itself, and go right back in. What are possible consequences for not appearing? Well, then I think jail time would definitely be on the menu if he doesn't show up. But I think if everyone else shows up, at least we'll see that happen. Like a bench warrant be issued. Buy a covered litter box and learn to scoop the poop. We were in the grocery store aisle looking at all the cat and dog toys, and my daughter is just learning the difference between the cat and the dog toys, and so she's really drawn to a lot of the toys that are more like chew toys that with the squeakers inside, like the duck and the squirrel and things like that. I'm like, well, you have to realize that they're the size of the cat, and I'm not sure if that's the right size for the cat to play with. And cats aren't really like a run and fetch and grab and bring it back sort of thing. So trying to explain to her that, little bouncy dangly things and flashy feathers and things like that are probably the better one. And we bought a package of, I told my daughter it was marijuana for cats. It was drugs. And she didn't know what marijuana was, but it's catnip. I bought some catnip, and the cat, there was a tray of food and the thing of catnip. And it's like, catnip. It was interesting. Anyway, so we did that. Let me end the poll here really quickly because, he's not here yet. I can only assume that he is possibly to blame for the delay. Looks like on the poll, about 83% of us thought he was not going to be arriving on time, with a 16% said that he was, out of 480 votes total. Let me pin this other message. Let's see. This is a little bit hopeful in the message, Sharon, that we're hoping to be watching him. Might not happen. He might not show up today. This is homeschooling, guys. Catnip equals weed. It looks very similar. Let me just say, it looks, from what I hear, meowiwana. That was it, John. I love it. I love it. KS, I had a cat that fetched. It's fetched 2 things for us. Well, 3 things. It fetched a mole. Like a vole, V-O-L-E, which is like a cross between a mole and a mouse. It fetched a cute little songbird, which it then ate, and it fetched a lizard for us, and all 3 of them are dead. But I think they were not when it first found them. And it ate a bird in the neighbor's yard, too, but it didn't bring it home. All right. Sorry, we're trying to go to court here, but they will not tell us when it starts. We just have to keep hitting refresh. You can't have a cat. It needs to be seen by a vet, vaccinated, maybe a feral cat group. Yes, we're following that. I've done some research online. I've actually got a friend who runs a veterinary clinic, and we'll be taking it to the vet and getting it. Apparently it's broken. Apparently all cats are born broken and you have to get them fixed. I'm not sure exactly what's entailed there, but our cat apparently is broken and needs to be fixed before it gets full grown. That's an actual thing, meowiwana. It's a real thing. That's funny. I thought it was very creative, but apparently somebody beat us to it. Ooh, a Maine Coon. I've seen those cats on the YouTube. Voles are wild hamsters, no tails. They also destroy my lawn. They're destroy. Yeah, I'm watching it too, Jen. Let me know if you see something happen. We'll get it popped up here as soon as it does connect, which it's not yet. Microchip your pets. Yes. I think it's actually pretty cheap to do. An outdoor run. I'm not sure. Because it's an outdoor cat, we're not cutting its claws. Because we do want it to catch mice, mostly mice. I wish it would catch cockroaches, but it has zero interest in cockroaches. It's almost like the cat cannot see them. Because you can like set its paw on top of a cockroach that's like squirming and it just does nothing. Zero. So it's broken in that regard. But it can see a squirrel on the top of a telephone pole in the neighbor's yard and it will climb the pole to try to get it. Do we know if he will have the camera in court? Ann Miller, are you talking about BK or about this one here? Let's see. Someone just sent me a document. Brinatches? I don't know what this is about, but I'll have to read that. Come on, Thurston County. We need that jury trial to start here any minute now. Spray some water on the bottom of a paper bag, sprinkle catnip on it, lay the bag down sideways, and enjoy the show. What is it about cats and going in openings? They find some spot and they just squeeze in. Really? Crazy Cat Queen, I believe you. I believe you. Apple AirTags are amazing for pets. Also, only breakaway collars for cats. Never declaw. Yeah, we were not going to declaw because it's an outdoor cat, and we want it to be able to A, defend itself, and B, kill all the little things that are trying to get into our house, other than the kids. I wasn't going to declaw. I meant by like with the little trimmer things. Pulling the claws out, that would be like ripping someone's fingernails off. That's not nice at all. Whiskers are cats' touchy feelers. Do you know they have them like on the back of their where their elbow would be? Rudy Patootie says, cats use their whiskers to measure the openings to go through. Yes, they measure, and then as long as they hit on the sides, they think, oh, I can still fit. Cats think they're cockroaches when it comes to openings. They're like, if my nose fits, I fit. And they go through. Come on, Judge. Where are we at? Oh my goodness. Declaw sounds awful. I did not mean declaw if I said that before. I meant the little trimmers that like cut off the sharp point. Turbo Scratcher with the cardboard center is amazing for keeping claws short. Only bought one and it's 15 years going strong. Worth its weight as gold. Turbo Scratcher. Turbo Scratcher. They fit based on the whiskers. I'm telling you, my cat will like, if its nose, there's like a little hole. We bought a water heater for our Airbnb, and the exhaust pipe for the water heater where the hot water comes out at the top, it's about the size of a silver dollar. Okay, and the cat's like jamming its nose through, trying to fit through. I'm like, if your head gets through, I'm gonna have to cut the box off your neck because it only goes one way. Let's see. I think he's approaching 70, Mr. Frang. I think he's either 50 or 60 or 70. Come on, court. Will the judge proceed if the defendant no shows? No, they cannot. He's defending himself. This is one of those weird situations, and we ran into this with Judge Darrow on Darrell Brooks as well, where if he gets removed from the courtroom, he has, because he's defending himself, he has the right to be there to make certain motions and arguments and objections, and so you can't just send him to jail with a one-way connection just so he can watch the proceedings, because he's also the lawyer. And you can't go on without the other lawyer there. So yeah, he actually he has to be there. Okay, we're now 16 minutes past. Crystal Love says the declaw procedure is actually more akin to amputating the last knuckle. Oh my goodness! I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, I think I said it, but I don't know what it entailed. Once you go cat, you can't go back. Capar, I'm okay with one outdoor cat, but I don't want more cats. And so we're going to do our part to make sure we're not contributing to the presence of more cats. Are you still at P.O. Box? Yes, that is still my P.O. Box, 775 in Ayden, North Carolina. What if the jurors are there? I think the jurors are going to beat him there, really. Come on, this cannot be right. What time is it in Thurston County, Washington right now?
It's 9:17 in Thurston County, Washington.
It's not that I didn't believe you. I just wanted Siri to tell me. He said he would not put up with it being late. And here we are, clearly delayed. Should we call the courthouse? No. Do not post that. Whoever Greeners, do not post it. Do not post that. I'm not going to interfere with the court in any way. All right. Chat's like, I'll make the call. If you do make the call, you'd want to talk to the court clerk and just ask to see if the live stream is functioning today. Because don't tell them we're trying to follow it on YouTube. Just ask if the live stream's functioning. We got the time zone right. I think it's all right. New poll, will the defendant show it all? If he doesn't, he's got another case next week. And honestly, I think his experience during this case is going to make him just that much better of a lawyer. I say that holding my tongue, than he was this time. Because I think he's learning a lot. He picks up quickly on things and he understands the process. Next time he goes through jury selection, he's going to understand a little bit more about what questions to ask. He's going to understand the process of striking people for cause and preemptive strikes. He's going to object to all of it because he wants more time and more strikes and all that. And we're probably still going to get closing arguments every time he gets up to talk in any situation. 50 Shades of Blue says we have a runner. Here we go. There we go. Let's bring this up. Okay, we're just waiting for the audio. He's there. He's just arriving. He's putting his bag down. Why do I not have audio here?
Bring the jury.
Let me see if we can get it on another feed to see if it's this device. Nope, the judge has not turned on the mic yet.
I'm not a camel.
Come on. This is important stuff. Which one is him? The defendant is in the suit on the table with two individuals. He's the individual closest to the center. He's shuffling his papers. He has 2 black bags in front of him. The gentleman to his right, who has an open laptop that appears to be browsing Facebook, that is his lawyer, his standby counsel. Basically, his walking
subject matter jurisdiction,
walking living legal dictionary and resource. Okay, I'm going to need somebody to call the court and let them know that the Zoom feed doesn't have any audio.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Standby counsel is in chat. Welcome, good sir, and my condolences. I'm sorry on your recent loss. Being appointed to this. This is a tough one. Any lawyer who gets appointed in this as a standby counsel, you're watching a train wreck, which you're not legally responsible for, but at any moment it may sort of be put on you. Oh, look, a jury's coming in. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I'm going to turn the audio down here just in case we actually get volume, which we should. I've got it turned all the way up. Okay. Thurston County. Has somebody already called? Because I will. Thurston County Court Clerk, Clerk's Office. We'll make a quick call.
You have reached the Thurston County Clerk's Office. Please press 1 for District Court.
They're muted. We're trying to get them to unmute. I've got hold music, guys. I'm trying to get through the clerk so we can hear this. I would let you hear it in, but I've got lots of hold music I get strikes for. Strikes.
In Your Honor, if we can have just a brief moment with actually the witness, I need to instruct them on. We can have just a brief moment with actually the witness. I need to instruct them on. All right, please.
Okay, we got sound. We're good. My P.O. box is in Ayden, Ayden. Okay, now they shut off the sound again. They're instructing the witness something. I think we actually have sound. There's just no volume right now.
After you performed that license check, what information did you learn? After you performed that license check, what information did you learn?
The driver was suspended.
And did the ID on that, the photo on that license match Mr. Farag?
Yes.
And what did you do after you learned that the license was suspended?
Well, typically we tow vehicles because they're on the freeway, but since we were off the freeway in a spot that he can legally park, I just advised him, I cited him and advised him he was going to have for it and that he's not allowed to drive. And I don't tow his vehicle. I just let him know, hey, you have to find a licensed driver and carry on.
In which county did this all take place in?
In Thurston County.
No further questions.
Oh, spicy cross.
Okay, Mr. Farag, do you have any cross-examination questions for Trooper Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor. It's the trooper that pulled him over.
Do I need to take the podium?
It's up to you. As long as you can hear each other and the jury can hear you, it's fine. Whatever you're most comfortable doing.
Well, the one juror there can't see me.
Not sure what he's doing. Shuffling around. He did dress up for court. Props for that. Where's he going? He's back. And he's gone again. He now made the full triangle. He walked in a triangle in the court. Now we're doing it in reverse.
Officer, thank you for being here. We have a serious situation here. There's a lot at stake, and financially, personally, property-wise, and you are on patrol. And I was stopped by you on July 2021. That would be over 2 years ago.
I'm not sure if this is a confession.
Now you
or a
say
question.
that your training. Now you mentioned your training. The prosecutor, state's attorney mentioned your training. Could you explain your training? How long have you been with the State Patrol?
6 years.
And during those 6 years, have you worked in which county?
I worked in Thurston County for 5.5 years. And I just recently transferred to Spokane this June. My 6-year commission date was November 2nd.
Oh, so you're familiar with the local area here,
Mm-hmm.
Interstate 5,
Right.
and you cover a good stretch of I-5.
I did.
Okay.
Well, right now I currently work in Spokane on I-90. At the time when I stopped you, I worked on I-5.
Right.
I worked on I-5 for 5 years.
5.5 years?
Mm-hmm. Lewis County to Pierce County.
That was the first ever contact you had with me, right?
This is the first time I've seen you.
That when you stopped me, that
wasn't my first traffic stop. This is the first time I've seen you, yes.
Yeah, but the traffic stop involving me was the first time you've ever had contact with me.
Right.
Okay. Because, yeah, I don't recall that you, I don't recall anything prior to that.
You were, all my previous arresting officers were different.
Now, the stretch of I-5 that you, to help me understand who I'm dealing with here, what I'm up against, the stretch of I-5 for the second, third time, where does it begin? Where does it end?
So I worked for the Washington State Patrol, the Olympia Detachment, which covered everything from basically exit 88 down by the Great Wolf Lodge, all the way up to the Nisqually River Bridge at milepost 115. So everything from 88 to 115 is within Thurston County. So all of I-5 and all the state routes within Thurston County.
Well, the problem is we got the police on the state police, yourself, and others. They're patrolling the I-5 through a critical area through Thurston County. That's I-5, especially northbound through Metro Thurston County. What can you tell us about the heavy patrols in that stretch from, well, you could say from Trosper to about Marvin Road? What can you tell us as far as what can you testify as far as the heavy patrols?
Like why there's heavy patrol?
Why there is patrols? Why is there heavy patrolling on that stretch of freeway versus, let's say, southbound through the same stretch of freeway?
I would say that it's, I don't know if it's any heavier or less northbound or southbound, but throughout the county, you have state routes that we cover and we have I-5. We're obviously going to focus we're gonna focus more on the area where there's the most traffic, the most people, the most calls, the most crashes. That would be between Trosper and Marvin versus we wouldn't have all of our troopers down by Great Wolf Lodge where there's no traffic. I mean, typically where there's more people, there's more calls and more crashes and more violations occurring. So that's where the safety needs to be held. I mean, I don't know if that properly answers your question, but.
Well, it helps. Now, have you gotten calls regarding that exit at the Gore Point just before Slater Kenny?
Have we gotten calls?
Have you gotten calls about that being a problem area?
We have crashes happen all up and down I-5 everywhere.
Well, that's true, but let's just focus on this particular area and the preceding and the latter part of the stretch of the freeway. Because I've seen accidents. I've seen lots of accidents myself.
Mm-hmm.
But has there been crashes in that where that Gore Point is, that exit?
I've responded to crashes there before.
Has there been just one isolated crash or been several over a period of time?
I mean, can only speak to the time that I spent there, but I've been there and handled more than one. I couldn't put a number on it, but I've handled multiple crashes on north and southbound I-5 at Slater Kinney.
Well, what we don't want to do is trump up the situation. You say multiple crashes. It's a problem area that justifies your patrol. There's been complaints, correct? There's been complaints. The crashes are a complaint.
Someone calls in to report. Yeah, it's a call for service.
Like an accident.
Right.
Okay, that's what calls. But other than accidents, has there been calls?
I mean, yeah, we get calls all the time about erratic drivers cutting gore points, using the shoulder to pass. I mean, to specifically say how many have been called out there at Slater Kinney, I couldn't tell you. That's like kind of a tedious. I couldn't put a number on that. Maybe communications could. I don't know.
Well, I'm familiar with that speed trap. It's essentially a speed trap, isn't it?
To be parked right there?
Yeah.
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
Your Honor, what was my question? I lost my question. What was my question, officer?
No, Mr. Frog, you were asking a question about speed traps. The prosecutor objected to that, and I sustained the objection, so you'll need to ask a different question.
Oh, Your Honor, I lost my question now. What was that question? You repeat that to me, Your Honor.
The question that the objection was sustained to was regarding speed traps at Slater Kinney on I-5.
Well, if there's a speed trap, and I've noticed the state patrol cars parked there more than once, there's been police there more than once. Mm-hmm. And the complaints, there's been complaints, people saying there's erratic drivers going through the gore point.
Objection asked and answered. Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm not getting anywhere here. I need to figure out, this is a critical central question.
Approach, please. Come on up here.
Oh my goodness. Your Honor, since he so rudely objected to my comment.
Okay, erratic drivers. I don't know who's making these complaints.
I need to understand something. The prosecutor objected to that question. Questioning and objection sustained.
I know, but you didn't explain why, and I'm trying to explain why, and I'm trying to make a record for appellate review.
I'm trying to make a record for the appellate review.
Listen, you're not going to shut me off one too many times.
Your Honor, I'm working on my appeal here.
I don't want to be restricted.
Members of the jury, I'm going to excuse you for a minute while I resolve the legal issue with the attorneys.
You guys, this is unbelievable. Please get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. This could have been resolved, and most likely with the penalty less than the statutory maximum, so quickly. He's literally admitted to committing the crime.
The witness is state's law enforcement witness. I believe it'd be appropriate then to remain in the court for any discussion.
No, that's fine. And let me clarify for you. This is part of the trial procedure that I don't think you're familiar with.
Well,
and
I want to learn from this situation.
Well, okay.
The more I learn, the better I understand, the better I can defend.
Okay, I hope it's a learning experience, but I'm going to insist.
No, there's been complaints.
I'm going to insist.
There more than once. I was pulled over for the same thing at the gore point. I'm not sure if he was the first time or the second time.
and it's a blind spot.
No, I need you to listen. Okay.
Listen, I will listen, but I'm not going to agree, Judge.
It doesn't matter if you agree.
It doesn't matter.
The prosecutor raised an objection to a question.
And you agreed with his objection.
The objection was sustained, and you are required, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, you are required to comply with the ruling. I will not let you continue to ask this witness any questions if you will not comply with my rulings on objections. All right. Your ability to cross-examine this witness is contingent on you following the law and the rules. You cannot argue with me about this, and you cannot get out from under it.
Be more specific.
I hope that you will be able to move on and ask the rest of your questions.
I'll try, but we're going to come back to the same.
No, we're not. If you come back to it, I'm going to hold you.
There's been complaints on that little area, and it's a blind spot. It's a speed trap, and it's restricting the flow of traffic.
That all may be true. I'm not going to make any decisions about whether or not.
And if I get stopped and get.
Listen to me. It's not relevant in this case, and you are going to move on.
No, it is relevant, and everything that you're going to disagree that's not relevant. Let's pull out the rules of evidence.
Mr. Frog,
let's pull out the rules of evidence.
I think you need to take a breather. Would you sit down at table?
Why don't you continue this trial until
sit down at the table
until another day?
Sit down at the table, and Mr. Penzderk, I would appreciate it if you would help explain what I said to him.
I'll help you explain it right here, Judge.
Mr. Stacy, he asked me to talk to you.
Allow them to have a private conversation.
Bailiff?
The judge right here.
Yeah.
Mr. Farag, why
don't we're gonna cross the floor. We're gonna dissect
a couple of minutes.
Mr.
Talk to your standby counsel, and we'll reconvene here in just a minute.
Well, standby counsel, I want a change of counsel, Judge.
Would you please listen to him for a moment?
I will, but I don't think he's effective assistance of counsel.
The guy hasn't said 3 words.
So do you want to appoint me a different attorney?
At this stage, I will not.
Actually, to be clear, Your Honor, from the state's perspective, that's not counsel. He has represented himself.
Standby counsel.
Yeah.
I am asking standby counsel to assist me in communicating with Mr. Farag. And
because if I can't learn from this and understand fully what the situation, there's no sense. It's futile to proceed forward.
But Mr. Farag, I hope you learn from it.
You're doing the same thing you did initially when I wanted a show cause hearing that I prepaid for, which I believe is correct. And you huffed about it. You're doing the same thing during this trial. Why don't you disqualify yourself? I wanted you disqualified. That was 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. You're taking the whole court down with you, man. I'm going to do a change of venue. I got a lot of things. I got a lot of personal problems I got to deal with. It's coming here and taking my time away. I got lawsuits that I need to file. Far more serious than this situation. You're doing the same thing you did 3 years ago. When I disqualified you for no cause, we were nice about it. And you ignored it. Okay, we're not going to be nice about it anymore.
Guys, this is live.
We're not going to be nice about it.
Can I ask you to calm yourself down, take a moment with Mr. Penzderk, and then we'll recommence with your cross-examination of the troopers so that we can finish that.
Yeah,
right, please do that.
If there's been complaints, that's a central question, a central issue. And I want to know everything about that gore point and that off lane, because he was doing this speed trap and he's pulling the wrong people at the wrong time for the wrong reason. And we got a lot at stake. And I'm not going to get buried in the ground.
Would you please consult with your...
I'm not going to be buried in the ground, man. You need to think about the adjudication and the sentencing, and it's disproportionate to the offense. Again, disproportionate to the offense. You're not going to prove anything. This is a charade. You don't have credibility. I did an affidavit of prejudice. You're ignoring it, and your judges, your other fellow judges are playing games over that.
Are you going to consult with Mr. Pezderka on this?
And you're contemptible. You're a contemptible man. And I have other worse words for you, man.
Your Honor, state would request a brief 10-minute recess.
I have no respect for you.
We'll take a few minutes. I think
you're doing the same thing you did 3 years ago.
Conversation.
Huh.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll reconvene in about 10 minutes.
We got thousands of dollars.
Okay, and so they cut the feed. They cut the feed when they take a break. That means the judge got up and walked away. You cannot make this stuff up. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. So now we have to watch for another feed again. So we go back. This is why we have 3 or 4 feeds every day, because they literally just shut off the live stream. Judge gets up and walks away, and now we need to watch for the next one. Let's see. So that's where we are here. Nothing happening there. Whew. I don't think I think, first of all, you guys, I owe you an apology. I told you we were going to have a verdict today, and I don't think we're going to get that far. I don't think we're going to get through the state's case. I don't think we're going to get through both witnesses, the 2 witnesses. The one witness is already done. He's the arresting police officer, right? He's the first witness who came up. The audio was off for that, but I can tell you what happened. Okay? The officer said, "Hey, this is who I am. I've been at the police department for X number of years, the state police for X number of years. This is my training. This is my background. I was operating as a patrol officer at the time, 2 years ago, whenever it was when this happened. The occurrence of that day, I was driving, I was positioned this point, and I observed this vehicle, crossing over the gore point, and I pulled him over and wrote him a ticket. And while I was writing him a ticket, that's when the audio kicked on. While I was writing him a ticket, I ran his ID, does match the defendant who's sitting in court right over there, that man right there in the suit, and I ran his ID, and it shows up his license is suspended. I was going to tow his vehicle, but since he had already pulled his vehicle off in an area where he legally is allowed to park, I allowed him to keep it there, and we just, I guess they arrested him and brought him in, but left the vehicle there. So that's the testimony, and the plaintiff says, all right, no further questions, turned over to the cross. Under cross, this man begins his closing statement again, and he's fishing for information, and he's trying to get them to say something that he can vouch for this. But his basic complaint is that the police have a speed trap. They have a blind corner where he can't see the police hiding. And while they were hiding, he performed an illegal move, which is a minor illegal move in his mind, which is crossing over and passing at high speed on the right through the gore point of an intersection. The gore point is where you've got the main road that goes through like this, and then you've got the merging lane that comes in. Those points where you've got the 2 lines that connect, that's the gore point, right? I'm not sure why it's called gore, but that's what we call it. He drove across that, right? Across to pass on the right to speed up because there was a slow truck ahead of him. And he's mad because the truck ahead of him wasn't pulled over for being a camper in the lane. And he's mad because there's all these other things that they could have been pursuing instead of him. And so he's frustrated, and he's trying to dig at this issue. Well, of course, the plaintiff, the attorneys are doing their best to move forward on this case. But they're making objections, as they should. They make an objection and say, Your Honor, this is not relevant to the case. Whether or not there's a speed trap on this is not relevant to the fact that he got caught breaking the law. Judge sustains the objection, and the defendant loses his train of thought for a moment and insists that the judge tell him what his question was, because he forgot what the question was, and he thought it was getting somewhere. And the judge says, well, you did ask a question, but I sustained the objection. You have to move on to the next question. He's just like, no, Judge, tell me what it was I said. Judge tells him, he's like, all right, about that. And the judge is like, no, stop. Pulls everybody up and says, look, I don't care what you think about my ruling, but you have to abide by my ruling. And if you can't abide by my ruling, you're not going to get the privilege of crossing the witness. And so the judge wisely, and look at the patience of this man is just unbelievable. Wisely, he sits there and says, look, you can talk to your standby counsel, We've got this nice gentleman in a suit who actually understands the law. He's a lawyer. He has the little card that says, I studied, I went to school, and I passed. Okay. He's got the little card. He's got a little bar number. Okay. He can probably help you because not only does he know what sort of questions to ask a witness like this that might, show that there were problems with the stop, but he also knows the law and he knows how to ask the questions in a format that's going to be permissible in court. This guy will have none of it. Mr. Frog wants to do it all himself. Even though his standby counsel has done nothing wrong, he's literally shut up and just sat there quietly while Mr. Frog was making a mess of everything because that is his job as standby counsel. He is supposed to stand by until he's reached out to for help. He's done nothing wrong. The guy's like, hey, I'd like a change of standby counsel. I need a new guy because this guy ain't cutting it. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Mrs. R.A., how are you doing? I'm on a little rant with what voice I have left. This is live. This is Thurston County, Washington, today, happening right now in District Court 4. We're waiting right now for the judge to take a deep breath and walk back into what I know is going to be more of the same that he's dealt with already this morning. Because it's not going to stop. This is going to continue either all the way through the next witness as well, because I think at this point they're going to cut off his ability to question this witness if he refuses to ask appropriate questions, if he refuses to consult with his standby counsel. What the standby counsel could do right now is just say, hey, there are a couple of things that you need to ask this guy. Be his friend. Be on his side, right? Okay, you don't have to stand there and say, hey, man, you're right. Those cops are just out to screw you. That was a speed trap. They should be stopping other people. No, that's not going to get you anywhere. He would love to talk about that. Mr. Farrak would talk about that all day long, as we've seen previously in court. Sit down with him and say, you know what? You've got to ask this officer while he's on the stand under oath these questions. Okay, and I don't know what they are. Okay, but ask him if he observed it personally. If he actually saw this vehicle, or if he just looked up and I was in the lane. Okay, if he didn't actually see you cross over the line, you could have been somewhere else, other than the fact that he's actually admitted that he did this. Okay, but there are things he could do. There are things the lawyer could say that could ask that would probably make this a little bit better, or at least get some information out that would be more beneficial. Get him to admit that that pulling over to the side when there was somebody who slowed in traffic is one way to avoid an accident. There's things you could get him to say. Give him a couple questions, have him write them down on his paper, and then let him ask the questions, and then have him sit down. That's all you need to do. Oh, man. Judge is back in his back room, either punching a punching bag or, calling his buddy from law school saying, you're right. I should have switched to be a physicist. No lack of guts on the defendant's part, for sure. He is confident in his stance. He's confident in his belief, and he refuses to take no for an answer, including when it's a sustained objection. Very, very spicy. Right. He's gotten by with things all of his life. This man clearly has issues with authority, right? And I'm not saying this in a pro se, or not just because he's pro se, but he's not a sovereign citizen. He's not doing any of the arguments we've seen from other sovereign citizens where they literally come out and say, I am above the law. No, he's saying, in his case, he's saying there were more important laws to enforce and you're doing the wrong thing. It's not a defense, okay? It's not a defense. It's like saying, hey, I was beating up kids down at the playground, okay, and that's bad. But there was this other guy who was shooting people, and you stopped me. You should be stopping him and not me. Okay, you're both in the wrong. The cop happened to see you beating up kids at the playground. He's going to arrest you. Okay, he didn't see the guy who was shooting people. He's not going to arrest him. I probably just got demonetized for saying that, but hey, it's worth it today. This is all about a ticket. It's all about a ticket for a traffic violation, driving with a suspended license. It was discovered after he crossed over the Gore point on the intersection to pass on the right at a high rate of speed some trucks that were going slowly in front of him. Yeah, he's not a sovereign citizen. He uses none of their common lingo. No, if anything, he's using lawyer lingo. He's using the Adam. This is the one clip of today that's going to end up on TikTok is going to be me saying that. I just know it. This is how social media works for me. I'm looking at you, Toyo. All right. Let's see. Did you see Megan Fox interview with Greg Anderson? Yes, I did. He was just like his wife, and Jenny described him. Yes, it was an awesome interview. I really liked that one. And oh, holy cow! Did I hear correctly? While we're waiting for the judge to come back, did I hear that Rob from Law and Lumber has Whitney on tonight? Is that what I hear is happening? Did he get Whitney? That's why you have a PR person in your pocket. Yes, Cachette. File all the motions you need to quash any of those clips. Let's see. Maybe he should watch more Recovery Addict so we'd know how to act in court. He could learn so much from just watching a trial all the way through, just learning the process of what happens. He's facing maximum right now, in addition to maybe some court costs, which are going up by the minute, I'm sure. Max fine of $1,000 and 90 days in jail, which he absolutely would not have gotten. But now I think he will. So everyone's saying yes, yes, yes. The Robin Whitney is a thing. It's going to happen. That's going to be amazing. Rob's going to be just grinning with glee. That's going to be awesome. I will not miss that. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic interview. I can't wait to watch. Okay, we're watching right now for the judge to come back in court. The way this judge operates, the live stream stops. The live stream stops as soon as the judge gets off the bench when there's a break. And so we might have 4 or 5 different little videos put together to make the court appearance for the day. So we had 4 yesterday just to get through the initial, the calling the case, the jury selection, opening statements. And now we're beginning the evidentiary portion. The only witnesses that have been announced have been 2 from the prosecution, the police officer and one lady from the licensing division who is going to testify about the license being suspended. That'll be very interesting. The defendant has not put any witnesses on notice, or he has not informed the court that he has any witnesses, because he says he has not been able to subpoena anybody in the 2.5 years since he had the traffic ticket. He may get jail time by the time this is over. I believe so. I don't know in Thurston County if the jury decides the sentence or if that's going to be the judge. Toyo, thank you very much. I'm holding you to this. Can somebody screenshot this? Love your work, by the way. Rob was fanboying over Whitney during the trial. He'll have a big smile on tonight. The only thing that would be better is if you got Whitney and Ms. Lawrence. If you got both of them on the same time, I think would be even better. Yes, please keep comments about other creators positive. I realize that other people do YouTube differently than I do and are different than what we do here, and that's okay. I have a lot of respect for people even who do things on their channel that I would never do on mine. It takes a lot to build up a channel and do this every day. It takes a lot, and I have respect for people who do that, even if they do it in a different manner than what I would do. So I try not to tear anybody else down because they YouTube differently than me. Let's see. Ann Cloutier gifted 10 memberships. 10. Holy cow. Ann, thank you very much. Every time I'm looking this way, I'm looking to see if the live stream's back on. Rob needs Miss Lawrence on. That would be cool. I'm not sure how much she could share, being a brand new lawyer on the case, but it would be really cool to hear from her. And to hear where she wants to go. I mean, is she in where she wants to work? Is this her path that she wants to pursue? Lucy says, looking forward to Rob's stream tonight. Going to try to stay awake. Yay for being in the UK. Found you from there. All right. Glad I did. That's awesome, Lucy. Thank you very much. Rob, I have a lot of respect for Rob. Incredible person. I really like him. He did not forget the question. He wanted the jury to continue to hear it. He's like, Your Honor, before I was so rudely, objected to and sustained by you, Please let me restate the question and continue with it. And he did. He went back to the same topic. Let's see. That Cali girl, I think it was a different comment they were talking about. I think so. I think you're good. Let's see. I realize you guys are watching as well. For the moment it comes on, I'm going to listen to that buffer sound if it happens. But Rob is very generous with his praise. He's very generous, and I owe him a lot of thanks. I appreciate him. All right, the judge, on the other hand, this judge, we can't say enough good about this guy. This is, I would say he's worse than Darrell Brooks. His attacks have been different, on a different level, because Darrell Brooks, all the attacks against Judge Doro were basically the sovereign citizen angle of attacks. These ones seem more personal, where he literally says, I have no respect for you. You're contemptible. You're a contemptible man. So he's gone outside the realms of the issues of the court and the legitimacy of the court to personally attack the judge, which I think is grounds right now. Like if the judge right now just said, Mr. Bailiff, lock him up. Let's give him a week to cool off in the tank. I think the judge would be in the right. There would be no problem with that. He made a pen on Ian's live last night. That is cool. I love the woodworking side of that. I cut rocks in half. That's about all I can do. The judge is giving this guy a chance and is trying to help as much as he can, but Farag is not helping himself. The state helped out as well here. The state made a motion to basically have a 10-minute break for the judge. They're just like, what is the judge's recourse? At this point, Connie, the only thing he can really do is, he's got a couple options. When it comes to the immediate moment, the defendant is questioning a prosecution's witness. The judge can say in this moment, look, I've given you enough chances. If you don't ask a question, and we saw this in Judge Doro as well, if you don't ask a appropriate question, in an area that's moving on, not about the speed trap, I'm going to go ahead and rule that the cross-examination is closed and we're going to move to the next phase of the trial, or the next step in the trial, which would be calling the next witness. So that could be what he does first. He could move all the way up to contempt and just probably excuse the jury first, and then order the defendant to be taken down to the jail to think it over, and then the jury would go home. It would probably put a stop to the trial. I don't think they're going to do a separate room, mostly because this court, they hold this court. It is a conference room. Okay. It's a conference room that was repurposed to serve as a court. And they did this during the pandemic time, and they've just kept it. This is in Washington. I think they still have some, aspects of their protocol from that time period still in effect. You saw the seating distance for the jurors. They have some of it's in effect that way, but, keep an eye out for this next one. I don't want to miss a moment of it. The judge is calling his friends like, look, what do I do? You've seen the live stream, right? What do I do? In front of Judge Schroeder. Judge Schroeder would have none of it. He would. Can you imagine him going off? He would go off. The defendant, I believe, is 60 or 70, so he's got some experience behind him. He has a lot of criminal cases or civil cases in the works right now. Like I think a large portion of this little district court docket has this guy's name on it for one reason or another over the years. As Scott says, contempt is how this is going to go. If you were his family, would you show up in court to support him? I wouldn't want to see this. I don't know. Family, blood is thicker than water, right? A lot of times you support family even through some pretty heavy things. Can he force the defendant to come back with an attorney if he wants to go to trial? Little Miss, I don't know if... Here's the problem. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to represent yourself in court. This is a right. And because the defendant has not, because he's smart enough to answer the questions, I don't think the judge can say, no, I don't want you to because I don't like how you do it. I think that he has to allow him to have enough rope to get himself in trouble with, because he's asked to do it, and he's exercising that right. Let's see, we have to get this done before Thanksgiving. I think we will. We're halfway through the witnesses, and the defense doesn't have any witnesses. After that, we're going to have closing arguments, which are going to be maybe 15 minutes. There really isn't much, and deliberation is probably going to be done on the way to the jury room. And then they'll just turn around and come back. California speed traps are illegal. I don't know the law in Washington State. I don't know either, but that's not the fact pattern for this, because he wasn't pulled over for speeding. He was pulled over for crossing the Gore area on a merge, and then passing on the right. But he was cited for driving without a license. Love to see this. Try this with Judge Boyd. I don't know. All these judges we respect, I'd hate to see them in the same situation, because first of all, this is very disrespectful for the process. It's very disrespectful to the courts and everybody who's in it, including the jury. And the jury is who the judge is most mindful of right here. These are people that have been yanked out of their life by law. They have been forced to comply. They don't have a choice whether or not they can be there. And they're told, you have to be here for the next 2 days to do your civic duty. I can compel you to do this. And so with that power that the court is exercising to seat this jury and compel them to deliberate and hear a case, the judge has a lot of, he's very mindful of their time. He's very mindful of how much they're imposing on their lives and for what reason. And so he doesn't let this just go on and on forever down a road where he shouldn't. The judge is taking a long break. Oh, man. We might not ever start up again today. We'll just find out he's got a booking photo. Oh, my goodness. It's always a speed trap if you're the one they're catching. Yes. Here in PA, the troopers hide everywhere, even in the parking lots of closed businesses. They're sneaky. They're really sneaky. I've found the way to beat the speed traps, which I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. The way to beat the speed traps is to not speed. That's the only surefire way. All the electronics, whether they're legal or not in your state, are not a surefire bet. It's just not speeding. We'll fix it. Why does he have millions wrapped up in this case? Is he talking about fines? Stonehouse's, I think what I gathered from his argument there about the millions wrapped up in the case is that he's talking about the funding that comes from these officers writing these, what did he call them? Like, it wasn't willy-nilly. What was the term he had for the tickets? Can't remember. It's basically a petty little ticket, right? I don't remember the term he had for it. But nitpicky little tickets, a tiny little detail. I broke one little law, and you're out here with your lights and sirens, and you're writing me a ticket just for the money. So he's talking about the millions that are wrapped up in the whole process with all the officers that are enforcing laws, which he thinks should not be enforced or shouldn't be on the books. One of the two. Let's see. This defendant has no right to disparage the standby counsel and the judge simply because he disagrees. Right. That was quite rude of him to go after the standby counsel, who was sat so patiently as he's basically been compelled. The standby counsel was not like, hey, sign me up. He was the next guy on the list. It's like a court appointed attorney, but he doesn't represent. He's just standby. He's just there to consult. It's literally like if you need to Google something, he's your lawyer for Google. He's the guy you can bounce things through. He can help you. He can answer your questions, give you direction, explain the process, help you phrase things in ways that the court will be able to accept it. Say if you have a motion, okay, you can't just say, "Hey, I move that I'm mad about this." The judge is like, "That's not a valid motion. You have to write it in the proper form and submit it." He can help you with that. Which is amazing, because for a pro se defendant, I mean, that's a huge help if you just accept it. In Australia, our police must put out warning signs that there are speed cameras in effect. Our town here in Greenville just voted last year to get rid of some of our speed traps. Our red light cameras, I think they just got rid of those, probably for a legal reason as well. He has lots of other lawsuits that are priority. He's going to file some lawsuits as well, apparently. He's suing everybody who's been up in his business. Standby counsel drew the short straw. It's like, why could I not have been gone this day? Still nothing from the court. See, the standby counsel reminds me of when my nephew refused help making a sandwich and then yelled at me for messing him up when I stayed nearby but in the room doing something else, just in case. Yeah. It's the guy's not taking any blame. He's made motions to have this continued a couple times. He's not happy with this quick case going forward. He's not happy with the order the cases are going forward because he thinks in his head, as he thinks about the scenario, that the one was caused by the other. So the trespassing comes first, and then you have this traffic ticket, which wouldn't have happened had he not trespassed. I'm not sure quite on the connection there. It's a little fuzzy for me. I'm sorry. Nancy says, my husband thought I was yelling at him as when the old man was up. I yelled, just pay your dang ticket and go. Sorry, Nancy's husband. Has he made actual physical motions or just threatened to make a motion? Yes, I believe he's done both because most of them have been, he's made verbal motions more than written motions. North Carolina, not South Carolina. Still nothing from the court. The judge was last seen running from the building screaming. Disrespect, totally not cool, but the way he blew up makes me think he's scared of losing his animals and panic took over. Moral of the story, obey the law. I realize he has a legitimate concern about his animals. That can be addressed. Just because you own animals is not a get out of jail free card. Unfortunately, if you do commit a crime and you own animals, there are things that can be done to help, and not always the things that you want, but there are things that can be done. The animals won't be left alone as long as you let somebody know. But issue a bench warrant for the judge. We need him back. Aircraft patrol parts of I-15 or I-5. Lana or Debbie, I've never, cross my fingers, I've never had a ticket from an aircraft before. I'm always curious about how it works because we watch those high-speed chases from the helicopters and the speed that we see on the screen. Like it's like now they're going 20, now they're going 120, 80, now it's up to 90, and it bounces around all over the place. They're not very precise, and I wonder how they judge that. Do they use like stripes on the ground to say he crossed between point A and point B this fast, so his average speed was what we're going to ticket him with? This is a whole different set of issues with there being a jury seated. It's bad. The judge is frustrated. He says, look, we've been through this rigmarole before with you, Mr. Farag. We have been through this. We've argued these issues that are not issues. You've brought up all your complaints. You've interrupted me. And he says, this is different. Now that we're here in front of a jury, I'm not going to put up with your crap, first of all. No more interrupting, okay? Now you're in my house, right? Now I'm gonna lay down the law and you have to obey. And the defendant is treating him the same as before. Max penalty, $1,000 fine and 90 days in prison or jail. Sorry. Usually when it's less than a year, it's in jail, not prison. He sounds like he's complaining about getting a ticket about something he was aware could be there. Well, his issue here is he got the officer to say something about, waiting there at that point. And so he's like, aha, I caught you. This is a speed trap. I don't know if speed traps are illegal in Washington. I can probably Google that and find out. Let me do a quick check. Okay, here we go. Yes, according to the Washington State Legislature, these types of tickets are entirely legal. There we go. Google just said yes, it's fine. Speed traps are illegal. The state of Washington allows radar detectors and laser jammers in private vehicles. Still nothing from the court. Looking at RCW Title 46, Chapter 46.61, Section 470. Speed traps defined. This is Washington State Legislature. We're hitting the books here. Cite some case law maybe too. Speed traps define certain types permitted, measured courses, speed measuring devices, timing from aircraft. No evidence as to the speed of any vehicle operated on a public highway by any person arrested for violation or of any laws of the state regarding speed or of any orders, rules, or regulations of any city or town or other political subdivision relating thereto shall be admitted in evidence in any court at a subsequent trial of such person in case such evidence relates to or is based on the maintenance or use of a speed trap, except as provided in Section 2. So you can only use a speed trap in court if any person arrested or issued notice of traffic infraction for violation of the laws of the state or any orders, rules, or regulations, blah, 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 blah. Regarding speed, if the same is determined by a particular section or of a distance on a public highway, the length of which has been accurately measured. So they need to have a measurements on the road. Mechanical measurements or checking. Let's see. Yeah, so they have strict rules, but it looks like they are allowed. Google law. This is where I'm going to get my law degree from the alphabet school of knowledge. I'm the new standby lawyer. Well, if he'd listened to me, I'm giving him good advice here. I really am. Nothing coming back. It's been over 15 minutes. The judge was like, take 5. The plaintiff asked or the prosecution asked for 10, and the judge has taken 15. Diane says if you Google his name, you'll see he's tried to sue our state and lost. Yeah, he's not new to the system, but I think he's new to this portion of the system, like when he's pursued the jury trial side. After watching Maya, we're all good lawyers. We had good lawyers to watch during that. I wish I could just hear what the standby counsel was saying. Honestly, that's got to be a choice conversation. Hope standby counsel takes his pay and doesn't take it personal. I'm sure standby counsel probably is aware of this gentleman, as is anyone on the list of public defenders. Is like, oh yeah, Mr. Farrak, yes, repeat customer. Nick Whitney tonight on Rob's channel. I am so excited about this. I really am. That's going to be awesome. They're booking him in Pierce County Jail. Is this true? Let's see. Because they might have gone straight to contempt. He has court next week as well. Half an hour break now. Let's see. You can't pass on the right anywhere. I'm not going to be your source for driver education because I myself am not a good one. I mean, the fact that I'm able to avoid accidents does not mean that I'm a good driver. It just means I either get lucky or everyone around me is extremely cautious and compensates well for my mistakes. Maybe he's feeding his dogs. Greeners. This is why I don't give out traffic advice. I ran one red light on a live stream. This is it. One red light on a live stream. The funny thing is there's an officer, a police officer in the city I was in when I ran the red light who does watch this stream. He hasn't said anything to me about it. But yeah. I'm not gonna live stream while driving anymore. There's too much on my mind, and I don't pay attention. And it wasn't like I just ran the red light and just blitzed it through. I came to a stop, checked both ways, it was clear, and then I went. And then the light changed. So, okay, we're gonna do a quick check on Thurston County Jail. Thurston County Jail roster. Let's see, how soon do they update? Inmate search, there we go. Oh, he's not listed as an inmate right now. So far he's not in custody. Christy, the defendant has 3 dogs, 3 German Shepherds, and one of them is vicious and has been renamed Jealousy. And the defendant's left hand is numb because the dogs pull on a leash so hard. But because of the dogs, he cannot go to jail because he has to be with his dogs or else they'll bite each other. Derek Chauvin's appeal was rejected by the Supreme Court. Interesting tidbit. Stephen's still not back from break yet. I keep checking. The judge may have retired during the break. I just thrown his robe and said, I'm out of here. Broke his gavel over his knee. Said, this is the last day I've had to put up with this. It takes a couple of hours since someone was arrested. We'll have to keep watching. He's in timeout. Who's watching the dogs now? This is a good question because he said he can't leave them home. But does he have them in his car, and did he drive? Did he drive to the courthouse? Lat Cali Girl, I have not looked at those yet. I've heard that whole case is just bizarre. It's bizarre. The one I've been paying attention to is BK with the latest ruling from the judge. The Brian Koberger trial up in Idaho, the Idaho 4 trial. I like that the judge has ruled that we are going to get access to that. I was worried that he was going to shut it down like they did with Lori Vallow, but the judge has ruled we get access, but then he's taking control of everything with the cameras. And that's going to mean that you don't have to physically be there to get access to it because it will be live streamed. But I was talking actually with my wife about this. If it's live streamed, the question is, should I still be there during court, like physically there? Because I would be able to provide views outside, interview with the people who are present in the courtroom, the people arriving at court, things like that. I could provide that in addition to the actual happenings during the trial. So I'm not sure what you guys would prefer on that one. If he drove to the courthouse and he has no license, yes, there's just another charge just waiting to be filed. Okay. Prefer if you called it the Moscow case instead of Burger King. Yeah, I hear that, especially there's some. We see this often in large crimes that involve schools, and a large number of students, where there's definitely a push to not give the perpetrator any more notoriety by sharing their name. I'm not sure if we have a consensus on the trial, whether you call it Idaho 4 or Moscow or. I'm not sure what the consensus is where we can all settle on one so everyone knows what we're talking about. Evangeline Light says, I am in my local grocery store with you on medium a medium high, and people looking at me like, what is that lady doing? Can't miss my RA family time. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the grocery store. Just wanted to let you know there's a sale on bananas today. Everything's going bananas, at least up in the court. Evangeline, thanks for taking us to the grocery store. I appreciate that. Keep in mind that the courtroom is going to be packed. There's a possibility you may not get to see it after traveling that far. Oh, very, very high possibility. I think it's going to be a lottery system every single day. And even if you're there for the duration of the trial, there might only be a handful of days where you get to get in. So I'm not sure if I'd even be able to be present. But if the judge is controlling all the cameras in the courtroom, it sort of negates a lot of the reason for being present. Other than there's some, a few things you might be able to observe outside the presence of the court before the judge comes and the cameras turn on. So there's a little bit that way, but you wouldn't be able to report on it until after you go outside. So it's a little tricky. That's why I hear RA in the dairy section. Hopefully down by the ice cream is where you should hear me. Anyone think he's going to come back and try to ask the same questions to the witness and try it on the same topic? Well, he's got a plan. And he's going to stick to it. But lady just turned around. Evangeline, that's awesome. All you need to do is be wearing your orange hoodie as well. You can just rep us in the store. Rescue Puppy says, I took you to Costco. It has been many a year. I think it's been more than 5 years since I've been in a Costco. Did anyone else catch him saying the speed limit is the average speed and not what's posted? The defendant said this? I think they've reached a plea deal. I doubt it. I don't think this guy would agree to anything. This 10-minute break has lasted 41 minutes. My sister on speaker, and I threw my phone in my pocket while I ran in to pay for my gas. She starts screaming, "Let me out of here. She has me hostage in her phone." Yeah, everyone was staring. That's a good sister, K-Par. That's a great sister. I approve. I approve of those antics. The 40-minute break, the judge already thinks it's not long enough, I'm sure. Ooh, sample day at Costco. I do the same thing at Sam's Club. Let's see. Ms. Holmes, 66, says, I'm feeling left out. Never get the Ms. Holmes should have been here 2 hours ago message. You have to type !late. !late. And then it will show up. It's something you have to manually trigger. Oh my goodness. Scan and go. Lat Cali Girl. I love Sam's Club Scan and Go. But the only problem is when you scan and go and when you shop the way we shop, which is usually filling one, maybe two carts, because we go every couple of weeks, and we have a big family. They on the checkout, the lady at the door who makes sure that you did their job properly, she wants to scan almost everything, and she's like, I need to see the pre-cooked Black Label bacon that's on the bottom of the cart. And so you're shuffling and trying to find something so she can scan it. Whereas the people who go through the check stand, they scan one or two items and they're good. Nothing's wrong with the kitty cat. It's just down to 8 lives. That's all. Still not back. Asked to watch the last bit again. Let's see. I can bring it up on one of my feeds. Okay, Here we go. Let's start right here. We're gonna go back. This is back in time. I'm gonna keep watching on my other computer for when it starts, but we're gonna go back right here to
say
watch
multiple
what happened.
crashes. It's a problem area that justifies your patrol.
This is how we got to this point.
There's been complaints. Correct. There's been complaints. The crashes are a complaint.
Someone calls in to report. Yeah, it's a call for service.
Okay, so what's happening right now is the defendant is acting as his own attorney. He's pro se, so he's representing himself and questioning the first witness for the prosecution, which is the police officer who initially wrote him the ticket 2.5 years ago. And he's asking him about this area where he pulled him over, and he's this line of questions is, you know, why do you even enforce laws there? Why are you even there? Is basically what he's asking.
Like an accident,
right?
Okay, that's what calls. But other than accidents, has there been calls?
I mean, yeah, we get calls all the time about erratic drivers cutting gore points, using the shoulder to pass. I mean, to specifically say how many have been called out there at Slater Kinney, I couldn't tell you. That's like kind of a tedious. I couldn't put a number on that. Maybe communications could. I don't know.
Well, I'm familiar with that speed trap. It's essentially a speed trap, isn't it?
To be parked right there?
Yeah.
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
Sustained. Do you hear that?
Your Honor, what was my question? I lost my question. What was my question, officer?
No,
That's the witness.
You were asking a question about speed traps. The prosecutor objected to that, and I sustained the objection, so you'll need to ask a different question.
Oh, Your Honor, I lost my question now. What was that question? You repeat that to me, Your Honor.
The question that the objection was sustained to was regarding speed traps at Slater Kinney on I-5.
Well, if there's a speed trap, and I've noticed the state patrol cars parked there more than once, there's been police there more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And the complaints, there's been complaints, people saying there's erratic drivers going through the gore point.
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm not getting anywhere here. I need to figure out, this is a critical central question.
Okay, so jury's present right here. So he's
come on up here.
So come on up. And we're just on replay here to see how we ended before this long break.
Prosecutor objected to that question. Questioning and checking sustained.
I know, but you didn't explain why, and I'm trying to explain why, and I'm trying to make a record for appellate review.
No, you're not doing it like this.
Listen,
no, you're not doing it like this.
One too many times.
Do you take the jury out, please?
Take the jury out.
I don't want to be disturbed.
Members of the jury, I'm going to excuse you for a minute while I resolve the legal issue with the attorneys.
So jury gets excused, and now we take our argument full volume. The judge is just trying to say, I sustained the objection. You have to ask a different question. That's his whole point. Court's still not back yet. I'm watching the live, or watching for the live.
This is state's law enforcement witness. I believe it'd be appropriate then to remain in the court for any discussion.
No, that's fine. And let me clarify for you. This is part of the trial procedure that I don't think you're familiar with.
Well,
and
so I want to learn from this situation.
Well, okay.
The more I learn, the better I understand, the better I can defend.
Okay, I hope it's a learning experience, but I'm going to insist
No, there's been
I don't know. I'm
complaints.
going to
They
insist.
parked there more than once.
If
I
you-
was, listen, I was pulled
Mr.
over for the
Frog.
same thing at the door point. Not just, I'm not sure if he was the first time or the second time. And it's a blind spot.
No, I need you to listen. Okay.
Listen, I
The
will
prosecutor-
listen, but
the
I'm not gonna
prosecutor-
agree, Judge.
It doesn't matter if you agree.
It doesn't matter.
The prosecutor raised an objection to a question.
And you agreed with his objection.
The objection was sustained, and you are required, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, you are required to comply with the ruling. I will not let you continue to ask this witness any questions if you will not comply with my rulings on objections. All right. Your ability to cross-examine this witness is contingent on you following the law and the rules. You cannot argue with me about this, and you cannot get out from under it.
Be more specific.
I hope that you will be able to move on and ask the rest of your questions. of
I'll
this
try,
witness.
but we're gonna come back to the same.
No, we're not. If you
question.
come back to it, I'm
There's
going to
been
hold you. in
complaints
contempt.
on that little area, and it's a blind spot, it's a speed trap, and it's
Mr.
restricting the flow of traffic.
That all may be true. I'm not going to make any decisions about whether or
And if
not.
I
that's
get stopped
true.
and get-
Listen to me, it's
if I
not
get
relevant in this case, and you are
No,
going to
it
move
is
on.
relevant, and everything that you're gonna disagree that's not relevant. Let's pull out the rules of evidence.
Mr. Frog,
Let's pull out the rules of
I
evidence.
think you need to take a breather. Would you sit down at?
Why don't you continue this trial
Sit
until,
down. Sit down at the table.
until another day?
Sit down at the table, and Mr. Penzderk, I would
We're gonna pull out
appreciate
the rules of
it
evidence.
if you would help explain what I said to him.
No, I'll help you explain it right here, Judge.
Mr. Stacy, he asked me to talk to you.
Allow them to have a private
Mr. Farag.
conversation.
See, Judge, right here.
Mr. Farag, why don't we?
That's co-counsel. Please, please.
Just a couple of minutes. Mr. Talk to your standby counsel, and we'll reconvene here in just a minute.
Well, standby counsel.
Okay.
I
Court is
wanna
live.
change
We're gonna
the
jump.
counsel,
We're gonna
Judge.
jump to the live one.
Would you please listen to him for a
Ready?
moment? And
I
the
will.
Decisions that you make,
Here we
Mr.
go.
Frog. So one of them is you forfeited the remainder of your prosecution by not doing.
We're gonna
I
back.
have to use
We're gonna back up just a little bit.
And
Yeah.
you weren't wrong.
This is
either.
live.
I'm telling you.
Listen, you eliminated the officer that was the key witness. You want an extraordinary proceedings? You got it.
If you absent yourself voluntarily from this trial, it will continue without.
When are we gonna break for lunch, Judge?
We're going to break for lunch when we complete the next witness that the state has, or noon. If it's earlier than noon, we'll break before noon.
So you're saying we don't have a recess right now?
We do not. We have a trial to do, Mr. Frog. That's what
Okay, bring back the state trooper and I'll do the best I can.
we're moving on from that. There are consequences to these decisions that you make, Mr. Frog. So one of them is you forfeited the remainder of your prosecution by not doing.
I have to use the bathroom, Judge.
Following that, Mr. Frog. Let's bring the jury back in here and call the next.
Judge
witness.
says I'm not falling for that. don't let him go to the bathroom. He'll never come back. He's gonna run.
Moving that he didn't say anything.
Yes, multiple times to continue and refuse to do so.
Co-counsel is trying to explain why he's at this point.
Well, the jury is likely gonna favorably decide in my favor because of the eliminating the trooper, Judge. And that's an optimistic observation in your favor.
And members of the jury, Trooper Jackson's testimony is excluded, and the state will be calling in his choice.
Your Honor, the state calls Natalie Jackson. Or Natalie Grunzer, I'm sorry.
Natalie Grunzer. testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
And Your Evans, whenever you're ready.
Could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Natalie Bronzo, Gronzo.
Thank you. And are you employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed?
The Washington State Department of Licensing.
What are your duties?
I respond to various entities for drive record requests as well as testifying in court.
And do you deal with driving records in your ordinary course of business?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Department of Licensing suspension process? Why might someone's license be suspended?
It could be suspended for various reasons.
It wasn't excluded, it was
Could you
concluded.
please describe the suspension process for the jury?
It could be reckless driving, DUI conviction.
Thank you. And I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 3. Can you identify this document?
Yes.
What is it?
This is a certified copy of a drive record.
Does the document have a state seal?
Yes.
Does the document have an official seal of the Department of Licensing?
Yes.
And who generates the document?
The Department of Licensing.
Does the Department of Licensing prepare these documents in the regular course of business?
Yes.
And can you tell whose driving record this is?
Yes.
And whose is it?
It looks like a Nabil Farag.
And how can you tell that it's that driving record?
It states on the sheet.
And the state moves to admit State Exhibit 3.
The objection to State's 3 being admitted.
Mr. Farag.
Exhibit number 3 will be admitted.
And what does this document indicate with regards to that person's driving status?
That they were suspended or revoked at the time.
And are you able to tell from this document on what dates they were suspended or revoked?
Yes.
Yes. And according to this document, what was the driving status on July 16th, 2021?
Why did we lose audio?
It looks like
She was reading, that's why.
I'm not seeing that date.
This could be a problem. The witness has to show that it's suspended. It's just a low threshold for the microphone, so it's silent when nobody's talking. Directed verdict time, yeah. This would be the time, if you cannot show that it was suspended at the time, move for a directed verdict. He might win.
It looks like he was suspended at the time. Sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, he had a chance.
Handing you what's been marked as State Exhibit 2.
Happy birthday, Sean White.
And can you identify
Sorry, I
this
missed you
document?
this morning.
Yes.
What is it?
This is a letter of suspension.
And how is this document generated?
Excuse me, Your Honor, I didn't hear a letter of what?
She said a letter of suspension.
Your Honor, the courtroom is so large, and I haven't heard, I missed something you said yesterday as far as the time to question the jurors. And I missed a word there. This courtroom is too large, and there's no microphone, there's no speaker.
I can speak louder, yes. Sorry, could you say?
Of course. How is this document generated?
It is generated through the Department of Licensing.
And do they prepare this document in the regular course of business?
Yes.
And can you tell from looking at this document who it was sent to?
Yes.
Who was it sent to?
Mr. Nabil Farag.
And how can you tell that?
It states their name on the top.
State moves to admit the State's Exhibit 2, the Department of Licensing letter.
The objection to Exhibit 2 being admitted. And, State's Exhibit 2 will be admitted.
Mr. Farag doesn't know he can
say in
object.
regard to Mr. Farag's license suspension?
It states that he will be suspended if he does not appear compliant.
And when was this document sent?
April 26, 2021.
And does this document give Mr. Farag an opportunity to prevent the suspension?
Yes.
Thank you. The state has no further question.
All right. And Mr. Farag, do you have any cross-examination questions for this witness?
Your Honor, just one more.
Sorry. Hold that one moment. Go ahead, Mr. Robbins.
Hold on, Judge. First of all, I don't appreciate.
Hold on one second, Mr. Farag. Mr. Robbins actually did have another question.
Just to clarify, one final question. On July 16th, 2021, what was the status of Mr. Farag's license?
He was suspended.
Thank you. State has no further questions.
He was what?
Suspended.
Okay, now to your question for cross-examination.
Okay. This is the last witness that we know of. We're rapidly approaching the end of this trial. Kevin, thank you very much. Appreciate you being a supporter. Kevin H. Bacon. We did just start, but now we're about to finish. It's going poorly for him. Just waiting for him to start talking.
Your name again?
Natalie Gronzo.
Natalie Gonzo?
Gronzo, yes.
Ms. Gronzo, I need to determine and inquire about, did you say you were the public disclosure officer?
No.
You do records requests?
I do.
So you gather the information from other staff at the department?
Not necessarily.
How long have you been with the DOL?
A year.
Was that Natalie Gonzo?
Gronzo, Gronzo.
Natalie.
Yes.
And the department, who decides at the department which staff member they assign or dispatch to come to court, such as with you today?
We are each assigned to different zones, and then we just pick subpoenas between our teammates. We all get quite a few subpoenas.
You get quite a few what?
Subpoenas. There is no process.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've been subpoenaed to appear here.
Yes.
Now, the one central thing that I need to determine as to whether there's guilt or no guilt in this case is for the state, the attorneys here to prove that, or to find that all the elements have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt jury. Did we lose a juror, Your Honor?
Mr. President, I want you to
That's the,
questions of the witness.
I know, but that's the juror that was missing.
We covered this earlier this morning. I asked you to continue with your cross-examination, Ms. Bronzo.
Okay, are you familiar with the elements of the driving while license suspended?
Yes.
Okay, so that's part of your training?
Yes.
Now it says under unnumbered jury instruction 2A, the defendant failed to respond to a notice of traffic infraction and or failed to appear at a requested hearing or violated a written promise to appear in court or failed to comply with the terms of the notice of traffic infraction.
Yes.
Now, am I derelict in that regard?
Could you restate your question, please?
I say I repeated. Hold on a second. I need to look.
He's doing a good job on this one. Like his questions are on point. They're to the appropriate person. They seem to be relevant.
Okay. The jury instructions 2A, the defendant for the state to find beyond a reasonable doubt that I am suspended, it hinges on whether the defendant failed to respond to a notice infraction or he failed to appear at a requested hearing or he violated the written promise to appear or failed to comply with the terms of notice of traffic infraction as provided by RCW. Are you familiar with that RCW?
Yes, I am.
And do you know it offhand?
The number?
Yeah.
No, I do not.
Okay, RCW 46.20.289. Now, are you familiar with this case?
Yes.
Okay, now I have failed. It's alleged that I have failed to comply with all those criteria. Is that correct?
With all the criteria?
Yeah, failed to respond to a traffic infraction, failed to appear.
Objection calls for a legal conclusion, also misstates the law.
Sustained.
Could he repeat that? What was his objection, Judge? I'm trying to write this down.
It misstates the law, and he's providing a legal conclusion.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, what is it that I failed to do in order to result in a suspension?
It looks like you received a suspension letter stating on what you can do to be licensed again.
And that's out of Lewis County District Court. Does that have any discrepancies as far as your examination of this?
I do not believe so.
It doesn't matter which county it is, right?
It is your license in Washington State.
Now, do you have a form which I think has been used in the past, it's called the administrative review request. What can you tell us about your knowledge of that?
The letter states that if you would like to review the pending action on your driving privilege, you can request an administrative review.
And do they, does the department provide that review?
Does the Department of Licensing provide that review? No, I do not believe so.
Okay, the department is not anything other than DOL, Department of Licensing.
Yes.
So you're saying you request a review, but there is no review. Is that what you're saying?
No.
There is a review?
Yes. It is not up to us to decide whether you are guilty or not.
Okay, so what's the review then if you don't?
The review is if you would like to request a review for the reason that you are being suspended.
Oh, to get reasons why I'm suspended?
If you believe that it should not be there.
And so what does the department provide a motorist who doesn't believe that it should be suspended?
We provide you the letters if you would like to handle it before you get suspended. So you can
handle it where? Before the department or before the court?
You will send your review to the Department of Licensing.
And do they, what's the extent of that review?
They will look at your record and identify if it is you. And they will look at the information received from the court or other agencies to describe the action that they took.
Which is nothing beyond what they've already issued, right?
It's more of a clarification.
Yeah. And it all goes back and hinges on the court, how they decided the matter.
The court does ultimately decide.
And that's before and during and after, right?
In what sense?
Well, if you seek administrative review, it still goes back to the court, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no remedy. There's no remedy before the department. There's no
objection. Calls for a legal conclusion.
If he's found guilty here, it's $1,000 fine maximum plus 90 days in jail.
So the administrative review request is
objection, relevance.
What did I say that he objected?
Yeah, let me hear the rest of the question.
Well, what? How much did I say before he objected? He's objecting too many times. It's another Wayne Graham. You know, if you can.
Please ask your question.
I object. The prosecutor is objecting too many times. Paul, I owe.
So they do a review.
Sharon found this one for me.
They want an attorney's name. It can't be a public defender. Now, with an attorney, do they provide a review administratively?
I do not work in that department. I would not know.
You would not know? Who would know at your department? Do you have a name?
You could call customer record support.
Yeah, well, we don't have Your Honor, we're missing a critical answer here as far as whether the department issues a review, because the court did not want to adjudicate the infraction, which the administrative review would pick up the slack, but they don't do that, except if you have an attorney. And you can't answer that question because only customer records support. We don't have a name.
I do not have a name. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So,
objection, relevance, name.
So there's no administrative review, right?
There is.
And how much is it or how less is it?
In what sense?
Well, you review by just clarifying the situation, right?
Yes, it's a review of your record.
Oh, it's just to confirm what was already sent to the motorist, right?
Yes, if you are not sure why specifically you are suspended, you can request.
Well, it's on the form. What more could you be uncertain about that you would answer beyond what's already on the form?
That is up to the license holder.
Now, can you worked for 1 year with the department, and you mentioned zones. That's the scope of your work, according to the zones that you deal with.
We deal with subpoenas across the entire Washington state, and we have a large team of people who respond to them.
Now, what do you know, the work exception? You know anything about a motorist who's suspended who has a work exception?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Okay, what do you know, Ms. Garzo, about the SR-22?
The insurance.
Yeah, insurance.
When you are suspended, you are required to get that insurance.
Now, the difference between that, and I'll ask you here, how much is required how much insurance or coverage to be required versus self-insurance is $60,000, correct?
Objection, relevance.
They're tag teaming over there. The more experienced prosecutor is whispering in the newer prosecutor's ear what the objections should be.
Okay, the SR-22, how much is required to be carried by the insurance company?
Objection, relevance.
SR-22, it sounds like that's a mandated insurance.
Can you tell us anything about
for high-risk offenders?
Department, such as the secretary of the department was a woman 5-8 years ago. Are you familiar with the secretary?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
He's not even standing up anymore for his objections. He's like, my legs are tired. I'm just going to make objections while seated.
Do you know anything about the driver's guide? Hold on a second.
Objection relevance.
Objection relevance. Objection relevance, he says. Nurse for God, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Well, we watched this pro se defendant about to pull out the driver's guide. He's got 2 copies. He got an old copy and he has a new copy. I think he brought
Objection,
both.
relevance.
And now he fires the objection.
What is it? What are you trying to show to the witness?
What's that?
What is it you're trying to show to the witness?
Well, I mentioned the driver's guide.
Hold on, is that marked?
I only have 1 copy, Judge. I don't want to submit it.
before you ask her any questions about it, would you show that to the deputy prosecutor?
It's the current edition of the driver's guide.
We're objecting to it being admitted.
We're objecting to this being admitted, Your Honor.
I'm not admitting it. It's my only copy.
No, I'm not going to let you have it.
I have older.
They haven't been offered, but I believe you said you had a question of the witness regarding, and it's this driver's guide. So why don't you go ahead and ask your question and see.
It looks like a January 19. Do you have any? Can you answer any questions in regards to the driver's guide? Do you know what this is?
I do.
Can you answer any questions as to in the last 10 years if they've made changes in which areas in this guide?
Objection, relevance.
He was doing really well on his questions. Now he's a little bit off in the weeds.
Do you have any
pet complaints?
Do you have any answers as far as the motorist public, the problem type of motorist public?
Could you restate your question?
Well, the motorist public, people on the roadway, involve white people, Americans, such as we see here. They involve black people. They involve.
Where's he going here?
Let's stop here for a second. Members of the jury, I'm going to excuse you here while I resolve another legal issue.
Where's he going here? Where's he going? Oh, man. Jury's just like shaking their head. They're like, are you sure we can't talk to each other? Because I'm going to need a therapist here real quick if we can't, let this out in some way. So he may be.
I believe this witness will need to leave the courtroom for the question, unfortunately.
What's that? Let that be prosecuted.
Okay. What did you say?
Oh, she's just going to step off while we just have a discussion here.
Well, the judge brings down the hammer and says, "You're not going to do this in this courtroom."
See, Mr. Brown.
Have a seat. Have a seat, Mr. Frog, because we're going to make something very clear very quickly to you. Abort. Man, you never know where these cases are going to go.
Exology, in the course of this trial today, 2 or 3 different times from you, Mr. Frog, of referring to various individuals and somewhat derogatory by their race. And I am directing you to terminate that sort of discussion.
How is you want to refer to
my
them?
jobs
Blacks?
to make sure that justice is administered in this court fairly and without regard to irrelevant subjects. You've made reference to other people who aren't here disparagingly by their race. You just were attempting to do so here with this witness.
Are you talking about the Negroes, the blacks?
It's unacceptable for you to refer to people or make comments like that.
I said blacks.
In the course of this trial.
That's not as derogatory as if I would have said
It was
Negro.
a completely irrelevant and uncalled for reference to individuals.
And then I was going to go on to say that there's young people, teenagers.
It's unacceptable in this court to make such derogatory references to people by their race, and you have done it.
How else was I going to refer to them, Judge?
So when you ask a question, I want you to do so without raising any sort of derogatory racial terms.
Would referring to them as people of color be more suitable?
Mr. Frog, in the context of your question, there was no need to refer to people by any color or race.
Listen, Judge, we're not going to be Joe Biden wokeness, BLM and all that. Okay, we're beyond that.
Mr. Frog, you were asking the witness a question about people specifically with regard to their race as motorists, and I can see no reason that that is relevant at all in the context of people driving on the roadways of the state. And you must refrain from that sort of thing.
Well, I've had encounters with black people on the road, Judge, on 3, 4, I don't know, quite 5 occasions. And there's a pattern. And I see the news. I listen to the news constantly for the last, ever since 2020, 2019, or even before that, to the Trump presidency. And I see all that. And I've had situations which you're not familiar with on the road. I've been on that road a lot on the highway. And
none of that is relevant. And
none of that is relevant.
Shove it under the carpet.
I'm directing you to stop referring to people, whether they're present in court or not, or whether they're jurors or court personnel.
Okay, Judge, I understand what you're saying. I don't know how I can be more so polite in that regard.
And remember, you're asking questions here of a custodian of records. You're not, her scope of testimony is limited to that area.
Well, I don't know what her scope is, how limited her scope is, Judge. That's why I'm inquiring. I don't know. I'm not going to make assumptions. They're sending a 1-year an employee that's been with the department 1 year. They can't answer any questions. Judge Buckley said, no, you're not going to get no witnesses when I asked for DOL, DOT, and WASP. And there's another problem. The jury instructions say that you fail to appear, fail to comply, and fail to this and fail that. And that's one of the elements of the charge. And I have to challenge that. Otherwise, I'm not getting a fair trial.
You can ask the witness questions about the basis for the suspension. I believe you were doing that. And that doesn't involve anybody's race.
Wow.
Let's have Ms. Gronzo back in here, and I'm going to have you resume the podium, Mr. Farag, and resume your cross-examination.
Okay, let me make
under the rules that I just expressed.
Let me make a little clarification there. I didn't know where he was going with his comments, and as he seemed to be escalating and becoming more and more inappropriate, I partially muted a word that he said. It was not the word that a lot of people thought he was going to use, but the way I muted it, it might have left an impression that he said that word. It's hopefully he's past this and will be able to move forward to sentencing. Oh, sorry, I mean jury deliberation here soon. It was my best effort to try to make sure if he did go, because this is live, because we can't pre-hear what's going to happen.
You can resume your cross-examination, Ms. Gronzo.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Kudos to the judge for stopping that immediately. I mean, a lot of inappropriate behavior has been allowed to go for quite a while, even sort of disregarding some of the judge's sustained objections. But when he saw where that was headed, immediately he stood up and put a stop to it. So kudos, Judge. That was good work there.
Well, there's the motorist public involves people of different nationalities or different races. It involves young people, teenagers, and we've received information that the majority of the people in safety classes, for example, are teenagers.
Objection, relevance.
Stay.
Okay, what changes have been made in which areas in the driver's guide during the last 10
Objection,
years?
relevance.
Sustained. That question was previously asked, objected to, and the objection was sustained. So move on.
Move on. Asked, objected, sustained. Already. Move on. You can't go back to it. He's thinking here. The mics have a high cutoff, so if there's no talking, we don't hear anything.
Now, whenever a traffic court sends you, what is it called that they send you that triggers a letter of suspension to the motorist? They send you, can you answer that question?
Could you restate it, please?
Well, the court sends you something, and then you issue a letter of suspension to the motorist.
My department does not issue the letters themselves. We just print them for the CCDRs.
Which department does that then?
I believe I could not answer that question.
Seriously, I didn't think we'd go where we've gone in this one. This is bizarre. So this line of question is actually, somewhat relevant and probative.
Have they dispatched staff that have been to a subpoena that have been with the department more than 1 year?
Objective form.
Are you asking if they have in the past?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's the length of their tenure, for instance?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
He was asking how long have other people in your position worked at your job. That is not relevant.
What can you tell us as far as is inflation having any effect?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Inflation? I don't even know how he's going to try to connect those.
So your knowledge of the department is limited, correct?
Yes, there are a lot of laws.
And there's a lot of aspects to the department, how they handle driver license things, right?
Yes.
Can you can you give us any information as far as usage of the HOV lane?
In what sense?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
It sounds like he's prepared some questions. He's like reading down a list. They're all over the place. I'm not sure where the HOV lane came from. Inflation was 2 questions ago. But it sounds like
what can you tell us as far as the driver's license having a street address versus a mailing address, such as P.O. Box?
Objection, relevance.
Overrule that one.
If the motorist does not receive the mail from DOL at his mailing address because the driver's license requires a street address where mail is not received there, is it possible that the mail did not was not received or by the motorist?
It is not up to the Department of Licensing to update the addresses of the license holder. We send the suspension letters to the most recent known address.
It was a good answer. That is actually the license holder's responsibility, and it's the law to update those addresses. So if you have an old address on your driver's license, you might want to update it.
Now, the knowledge test on the examination, if that has an effect on the suspension or it has an effect on reinstating your driver's license, would that invalidate the suspension?
Objection, relevance.
Pauline, I don't think the jury has heard any evidence to go off of other than to convict. Nothing that he's provided has really argued to the contrary. So I think right now it's going to be a quick conviction.
Do you have any answers as far as the driver's guide advising motorists to be considerate?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
That would probably have been a better question for the police officer than for this.
Now, there was a decision. There was a decision by the Washington State Supreme Court regarding suspensions 25 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. And the Department of Licensing issued letters to motorists saying, hey, there's nothing, the decision makes it clear for you to reinstate your license. Do you know anything about that?
In what sense? Could you restate your question, please?
Well, the Supreme Court, the highest court in this state, the Supreme Court issued a decision 28 years ago that invalidated all these suspensions.
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
That previous question about
I
drivers.
have a direct bearing, Your Honor, on the validity of these suspensions.
Objection, sustained.
The drivers
would be your opinion.
Courteous.
What would be the grounds for your ruling?
The deputy prosecutor raised the grounds of irrelevance, relevance.
I know.
The objection on that basis.
On just simply that. Because there's a replay going on right now, suspending, invalidating these suspensions.
Mr. Frog,
and there could be current cases.
Is irrelevant. It calls for irrelevant information. So please move on to your next question.
You know, what's relevant in your thinking is not relevant to the factual case.
Are you done with the witness?
Well, not yet, Judge. Thank you for that.
All right. Yeah, if you want to get your own mug that says objection, overruled grounds on it, those are available. Thanks for posting the link there.
Do you have any So the department endorses and accepts Ms. Garzo. The Department of Licensing accepts, endorses, anything brought to it from the district court. Is that correct?
In what sense?
In all senses. With no questions asked.
Could you restate your question, please?
When you receive something from the court, which triggers a letter of suspension. Now, the docket, what is it called that you receive from the court?
I do not work in that department. I do not place suspensions on people's licenses.
That would be the other department, customer records support?
That would be who you could ask about it.
Maybe somebody you could have subpoenaed as a witness even.
You can't answer anything in that regard?
I do not do that process. I do not place suspensions.
I have a yodeling pickle. I don't have the screaming pickle. Maybe if I took the innards from a screaming goat and put it in a pickle, we could do that.
So essentially, you're just the Department of Licensing is essentially just an extended arm of the court. You help them enforce the.
Sustained.
Sorry about that, Judge. This microphone is directly in my way. This thing could be a lot bigger. Did you see how crowded I am?
I'd like to file a motion for a larger lectern, Your Honor, because I've got a lot of papers, and the microphone's in the way.
Do you, Miss, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name fairly correctly, Miss Garzo.
Granzo.
Excuse me?
Granzo.
Granzo?
Yes.
Okay, there's an N there that I left out. Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay.
Ms. Garanzo, is there this case for it to meaningfully proceed forward to the jury to decide requires somebody coming on behalf of the department, such you are doing today, that has more knowledge and more ability to answer the questions. Is it possible that we can have
the sustained?
Misstates the
jury
law.
will disregard the first part of that. You may proceed with everything after is.
Okay, let me see if I can do that, Judge. Thank you. Can we have your subpoena transferred over to another staff member that is more knowledgeable?
Objection.
Such as
sustained.
That's not how it works. That's not
okay.
how it works.
We're not getting adequate answers. Would you tell your secretary that we need a more
objection sustained?
Okay, your experience and your knowledge is too limited.
Objection.
Can you tell your secretary, your bosses, to provide the court, to provide us for this trial someone that has more experience and more knowledge?
Mr. Frog, are you done asking the witness questions?
Well, I didn't get an answer, Judge.
I sustain the objection. You're not going to get an answer to that question.
So we have to accept.
Do you have any questions?
Whoever they send.
Whoever you subpoena.
Yeah, I'm going to see here if I got anything.
If you had a lawyer, they would
I'm
subpoena
not sure
people.
if I have. Excuse me. So I'm not sure if I have anything else.
Incredibly useful thing to have a lawyer in court. Incredibly useful. They can do all sorts
Any
of
other
things for
written
you. Like provide a
lists?
defense. Cynthia, this is a train wreck in slow motion. That's what we're watching, and it's happening live. It's unbelievable. Every single moment you think it couldn't get any worse than what it is right now, and then it does. It's unbelievable.
Now, self-insured.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Sustained. This has been sustained before, Mr. Bragg, so please move on to another subject.
The judge is going to cut him off here if he can't get some valid questions in. He's not a lawyer. He's acting pro se, which means the defendant is acting in his own defense. He does not have a lawyer representing him, which is a huge disadvantage.
Madam, this notice of suspension refers to a court name in Lewis County as Lewis County District Court. Now, if that's the improper venue, improper court, it should be Thurston County.
Objection.
Sustained.
That's basically a subject matter jurisdiction question, trying to fault the paperwork, but the system, whatever county it happens in, is effective statewide. That's why the judge is sustaining that argument. That's not going to get him anywhere. I'm not saying a lawyer could have got him off on this charge, but it probably would have ended better when whatever is going to happen here, and without the aggravation that everyone in this courtroom is experiencing. Bose, no, he asked the police officer about the speed traps. That was shut down pretty fast. And not to mention Wynn's lunch, right? Wynn's lunch. Let's get all the questions in right now.
What can you tell us, Miss? What can you tell us as far as the occupational restricted license will not be valid?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
And he has to pee. Okay, so Vicky, this is a great idea. I think we do want to cover. He has another case scheduled on the docket for next week. I believe it starts the 27th. I'd love to be here for that one.
Miss Garanzo, is from the date of the notice of suspension to the date that driving privileges will be suspended is about a month and a half. Is that normal practice?
It varies, but that is normal, yes.
So from the letter you issue, you provide about a month and a half window for the motorist to get back with you.
Yes.
That's a good question.
But a request for administrative review is not really going to go anywhere.
Objection.
Right? Asked and answered.
This question has already been answered. So sustained.
I
realize he's frustrated with the process, but there's really nothing.
Yeah, I only received this today, Judge. I mean,
objection.
Mr. Frog, if you have questions for the witness, we've asked them. You're done asking questions, I'm going to turn it over to the deputy prosecutor.
Washington State is in the northwest corner of the continental United States, right up there by Canada.
Question the madam.
Well, it'll be his turn to ask questions on redirect if he so chooses.
Now, the court must submit proof to the department that
Thank you, Nurse for God. Appreciate your support. You're amazing. He's thinking here. It's silent. The audio's still up. Just nobody's talking.
When are we going to break for lunch?
Yes.
Well, my question to you is: do you have any further questions for this?
I'm getting prepared to ask my next question, but when are we going to otherwise break for lunch?
I need you to proceed with your questions.
Well, I want to know how much time is remaining.
Please.
When he breaks for lunch, we may not see him again. It might be a very long lunch and a bench warrant involved. I think he's running out of questions here. I really think he has. And I think he's trying to stall as well. Lunch would give him an opportunity to go over all his notes again. It's like a filibuster, but he's not talking. It's sad.
If there aren't any more questions, I'm going to turn this over to the deputy prosecutor for redirect.
Okay, Judge.
Mr. Robbins, any question?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Then, Ms. Grimes, you can step in.
Am I being released?
Yes, you're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, madam. Have them send someone with more experience.
That's it.
Because we're not getting anywhere.
Oh my goodness. No.
Be seated, Mr. Pratt.
Oh my goodness. Tamara, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I think this gentleman might be eating Thanksgiving on the state's dime.
And to answer your earlier question, this is the point that we're going to break for lunch. So members of the jury, I'm going to excuse you for a lunch break. I'm going to be back here at 1:30 in the jury deliberation room. And I'll remind you of my earlier advisements, not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else until it's finally submitted to you for the decision. Right. Enjoy your lunch. We'll see you at 1:30.
Okay, so they're taking lunch, which means we get to take a second lunch, unless you guys would like to call in. So I don't think I can talk nonstop. You guys are like, of course you can, but my voice is going to give out if I try to talk nonstop. So we'll see if they have any business to conduct here. They said 1:30. Let's see how long of lunch is that? It's 2:30 here, 1:30 there. What time is it there? I need some math people to help me out. You know how bad I am at this.
Ready to resume at 1:30. Are there going to be any more witnesses for the state?
Oh, no more witnesses for the
The state rests, Your Honor.
Okay, so the state resting at this point. All right. Then when we reconvene, it'll be your turn, Mr. Pratt.
No, we got to be back at 1:30, Judge. 1:30. Now, are we going to run up until 5?
Well, I don't know. It depends. You don't have any witnesses besides yourself, right?
Yeah, I wasn't able to subpoena.
So you're
somebody more knowledgeable at DOL as well as DOT as well as State Patrol.
But you're planning. I think you said before you're planning to testify.
Yeah, normally I do.
Judge has a fidget toy.
We have to cut off at a certain time.
Well, we're going to conclude this trial today. So when you after you testify, then if the state doesn't have any rebuttal witnesses, then I'm going to instruct the jury as to the law, and then it'll be time for closing arguments and deliberation.
And how much time am I going to be allowed to testify?
Well, I'm not setting a time limit on your testimony. You can give any relevant testimony.
Keyword relevant.
And it's all mud over the water now as far as the trooper.
Yeah, that's done.
He's gone, right? He's not. We can't recall him.
His testimony is concluded. You blew
He's
that.
a nice officer. I hate to to interrogate him, but I just has an effect on the trial. Judge. It has an effect on the testimony.
Get yourself some lunch, take care of your dogs, and we'll pick this back up again at 1:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so they've now broken for lunch, 1:30. So how long is that? At 3:42? It's 3:42 right here. No, okay. Where I'm at, it's 2:40, 2:44 right now. So if they come back at 1:30, let me just ask Siri, because Siri knows everything when it comes to times. Hey Siri, what time is it right now in Thurston County, Washington?
In Thurston County, Washington, it's 11:44.
Okay, so 1:30. That's an hour and 45 minutes. Is that right? An hour and 45 minutes. So the time here would be 2, 3. Oh, somebody was telling me at 4:30 my time. Okay. So it's a little bit of a break. We're going to go a little bit late tonight. Realize they are on the West Coast. So for those of us on the East Coast, it's going to be a late night trial. The judge has said we're going to be done with this tonight. Does anyone have to get anything off their chest after listening to all this? I'm just curious. It's been an interesting day here. I'll say that. If anybody has something to get off their chest, I'll go ahead and open up the lines briefly. Let's be polite. Let's realize that everybody deserves their day in court. This gentleman is exercising a right that he has to defend himself in court, to represent himself, and he's doing better than many have done before him. That being said, the outcome probably is not very good for him. But, oh my goodness. Ugly Buddy says, I think he's innocent. I'd vote to acquit. Vote to acquit. Don't do crimes and get an attorney. That's pretty much it. Aaron, you've summed it up quite a bit. Ooh, let's see. Hang on. Just got a text from Dr. Joe Corcoran. He needs some help getting set up on YouTube, and I could help him with that. Okay, he's reaching out to all of us who he went on the show with. So all the YouTube creators who interviewed him and saying, hey, can you help me out? He's going to post another video. I think he's releasing it. He says he's releasing it today on his channel. So that'll be interesting if you like Dr. Joe. We'll see if we can give him some advice and help on that front, see if we can help him out, because I really liked what he had to say, and I think he has an important message to share to continue that discussion. All right. Let's see. Bets on how long jury deliberates. 10 minutes too long? Yeah. How long does it take to walk across the hall and scribble an X in one of the boxes and walk back? That's the jury deliberation time. Matthew Harris, where art thou? Oh my goodness. There are a couple things that really were glaring moments when you thought, this is why you get an attorney. Okay. Because there are some times when he was doing all right, when his questions were relevant, when they, were probative, when they were sort of getting at an issue as he was sort of digging at the fact that this appeal process didn't work. It probably wasn't a good defense for him, but it was interesting to point that out, and the jury might have some sympathy there. But it was interesting that way. He probably could have done a better job chasing the rabbit about how the warnings are mailed out. But I think from a legal perspective, the fact that they mail it to the last known address, which you're legally required to update, I think they're pretty solid on that. Where we saw the problem was he was frustrated asking questions from the trooper. He has a difficult time asking questions. Okay, he's been in for 2.5 years. He's been in the speaking mode, right? He's been in I just don't need to vent and get this off my chest. I'm frustrated that I've been targeted for these petty little crimes, nitpicky little laws, from these speed traps when you guys should be doing something else. There's no reason for you even be enforcing laws in this area. This is his argument. It's not valid, but it's his argument, and he's been trying to get it off his chest and using this moment to really to spread that information. Hang on one second. Somebody's on the phone.
Nancy.
Hey, Nancy, this is Recovery Addict. Can you make sure you turn down your audio there in the background? How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. What are you thinking today?
Well, I never called in before, so it's the first time.
Wonderful.
But he keeps on saying about his dogs and about his money and stuff. Has anybody ever checked out, does he really have dogs? Does he, you know what I mean?
I think he does. We've heard his cases have been going through the court system for quite a while, and I think the dogs are legitimate. That is something he has, and it's something that takes a lot of his time and he has responsibility for. But some of his arguments aren't necessarily legitimate. He just doesn't like getting caught doing things wrong.
Right. But he said he's driving there yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, why aren't the cops staying out there?
We've seen this in other cases when the judge, pulls up the defendant and they're talking to him. He's like, look, your license is suspended, right? And the judge looks at him and says, how did you get here today? Well, I just lived down the road, a couple miles, so I drove. He's like, you what? We didn't get that moment. I don't think the judge wants that. There's already so many cases in the system right now. They just want to get rid of like one and have it move all the way through.
Exactly.
But man.
But yeah, I mean, to me, is if your dog is so mean and everything, there is crates you can put your dogs in, at night. I mean, during the day, so they don't fight with each other or whatever, at home. Why are you making them sit in a cold car, Yeah. Or the heat, whatever, I'm an animal lover, so.
Yeah.
And I was raised with German Shepherds, so.
I can tell you that with the proper training, German Shepherds are incredibly obedient dogs. That they can be.
Ours was real friendly.
They can be trained to do, in complex tasks, and I mean there's a reason why it's one of the breeds the police use, because they can be trained to do commands and they like to work there.
Ours was just pets, and they were real friendly. I mean, one of them let somebody break in the house when nobody was home and steal stuff and let them go.
lick their hands. Lick their hands.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to check with that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
this is all happening live. It's been a little crazy the directions it's gone, Nancy. But it's hopefully the dogs are going to be okay. Whatever the outcome is, we hope that the animals are taken care of. I hope that this gentleman
definitely
gets a good result that will help him with where he is in life and where he needs to go. So I'm
he needs help. So, but who am I?
Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate the call. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. I forgot what I was saying before Nancy was talking to me. Thank you, by the way, Nancy. First time call. It's easy, huh? Doesn't hurt one bit. But let's see. We had. So I was saying he wants to get things off his chest. He just needed to talk. He had a hard time switching from that venting mode into lawyer questioning mode. And this is where it helps to be a lawyer, because all the practice you get asking appropriate questions and, in other trials, wording questions appropriately so they're admissible in court and, in the format and with the proper foundation that will allow the question to be asked and solicit the answer you want, okay, or the answer you need. This gentleman, all of his questions he was asking were things he genuinely, I think, didn't know the answer to. So even though he'd done a lot of research, it was more fishing than anything else, which is very risky as a lawyer, asking any question you don't know what the answer is. And so he struggled with the police officer, and because of that, he got flustered. The judge had to cut him off, and he missed his chance. And so some of the questions that he asked to the second witness, who was just the custodian of records, right? She's like a secretary for records. You call up, you need something copied or pulled out of the database. She's the one that does it. So he ends up asking her some of the questions he really should have asked the police officer, or really should have subpoenaed someone else that could be more appropriate for the questions he wants to ask. So he's asking all these questions, not getting the answers he wants, frustrated, even asking her to pass the subpoena on to her boss and send somebody else, which is that's not how it works. Subpoenas are very specific with the individual's name on them. There's not just like, hey, forward this subpoena to anyone else you think should be here. But yeah, he's accused of driving on a suspended license, 3rd degree. $1,000 fine, 90 days in jail is maximum penalty, and he's arguing that first of all the whole suspended license thing was against a Supreme Court decision, which we never got to really hear the argument on because the judge shut that down really fast. He's said that the ticket itself was sort of a nitpicky issue, and because it was a nitpicky issue, they never should have pulled him over, and then they would have never known that he had a suspended license. So as long as you don't get pulled over, you're fine driving a suspended license. This argument is not going to fly with a judge. It's basically saying as long as you don't get caught, you can break the law, and it's just fine. That's not a good defense. But he could have used his standby counsel in a couple situations. He's standby counsel to help him go over some questions he could ask the police officer. That would have been incredibly helpful, as well as the other witness. Ricky, my friend, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. Good to hear your voice. What's happening?
Oh, gosh, dog, I ain't said howdy to you for a bit, so I thought I'd say howdy.
It's been a while. Happy Thanksgiving week.
Oh, yes, sir. As you and your family as well, by golly.
Thank you.
But no, on that feller that's defending himself there,
mm-hmm.
It sounds like he is pulling peas out of a dry field.
It's not very effective the way he's doing it. I've never heard that analogy before, but I imagine it's something similar to like picking cotton after the gins run through. There's there's not a lot there to pick and grab, and he's not getting much traction.
Well, I tell you what, he's going to have to find some motor if he's going to keep on going.
Well, at the point he's at in trial now, he hasn't called any witnesses. It's just on him now, right? So we're going to have the jury's going to come back. They're going to be informed that the prosecution is rested, and they're going to turn to him, Mr. Farrak, and say, "All right, call your first witness." He says, "I call myself," and he gets to march up there. He'll probably be on the stand. I think I'm not sure if they'll make him sit in the witness stand or if he'll just probably sit in the witness stand. And then he gets to sort of free spool talk, and that's going to be a nightmare because it'll just be him talking and the prosecution objecting nonstop.
Right. Well, it's like I said, I mean, all he's going to do, he can't ask himself questions. All he's going to do is just sit there and jabber.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be like what we saw before, like in the pre-trial yesterday before the jury selection, where he just went all over the place, and he wanders. Oh. And he's got all the complaints, and he wants to present it all. He thinks everything is relevant, but really, almost nothing that he's brought forward to the judge is relevant to this case and this charge that he's facing.
But I had a young lady comment earlier that he might need one of my horses because you don't have to have a license for that. And I'm like, oh heck no, not one of my horses. I might find a good meal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's don't give him one of your horses. I worry about his dogs even afraid.
Oh, yes, sir.
Sitting out in the car for a couple hours.
Gosh dog, I run 12 horses and I've got 34 head of cattle and 2 dogs, so there ain't no way I can get by with going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're exempt as well. I guess you can commit all the crimes you want because you got animals to take care of, right?
Well, gosh dog, I wished I was exempt, but I'm not.
Yeah, Ricky, thank you so much. Good to hear your voice, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving this week.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to still try to get on for a bit? Thanksgiving?
I'll try to do. It'll be really short. I'll just do a little message. It might even not be live. Here's what I say. I need to spend time with my family on Thanksgiving, and you guys are my family as well. But I'd like to give a shout out to everybody who's celebrating on their own, to let them know that we're thinking about you, and I hope you have a good day as well. So I'll try to fit something in there.
That sounds good, Mr. R.A., but I appreciate you. And I apologize. It's been a bit since we talked.
No, it's good to hear your voice. Look forward to hearing you from you again.
And tell your family happy Thanksgiving for me.
Will do. Thank you, Ricky.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Call from
Ugly Betty.
Hey, Ugly Betty. This is R.A. How are you doing?
Hey, Scott. How are you, man?
I'm doing great for a Thanksgiving week with half a voice.
Yeah, no. Well, your voice actually sounds good. I don't know what you're complaining about, but it sounds great.
It's going to crack on me any minute now. It's going to be like getting puberty all over again.
We know we don't want to go through that anymore.
No.
Well, hey, listen, this is the first case I've seen with this poor guy. Mm-hmm. And, I really feel sorry for him standing up. Now, maybe like the people in chat have said, my sorrow is wrongfully placed, and I can totally get that. But I can't help but feel sorry for him up there. Some people say it's an act. If it's an act, it's not a very good one. He's convincing, but it's not good for what he's trying to get done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's preaching to himself. I don't think there's anybody that's on board with what he's selling, really. And it's
yeah.
And he's convinced himself, and his argument sounds wonderful to himself, but it really is not doing him any favors.
Does he not look over at the jury to see how the jury's reacting? Because it's so small on my screen, I can't really see him. But
this is the thing this is why you need a lawyer as well. There are so many things you need to do in court, right, at the same time. And one of them is monitor the jury, read the room, see when you're getting some traction with the jury and people are listening and nodding their head and being intrigued and writing some notes. You want to watch for that. But where you're doing everything yourself, you're prepping for your next question. He was literally prepping for his cross-examination and twice missed the opportunity to object to evidence that came in against him. The only physical evidence in the case didn't even respond.
Yeah. And I found myself going, object. Come on.
Even if it doesn't work, for the appeal.
Try it.
For the appeal.
Throw it out there.
It was.
Throw it out there and see what sticks.
Yeah. So, this is another reason you need an attorney.
It's hard for me to watch it because, I see my own grandfather standing up there, and my grandfather was with it when he passed. Complete 100%. But it's just, this guy doesn't seem like he has got both oars in the water and pulling at the same time,
This
and I feel sorry for him.
You feel bad a little bit. If you could go back and watch all his pre-trial hearings, there was a hearing specifically where they talked about him being able to represent himself, and they go through the same process. Okay. We watched it in depth with Darrell Brooks when we saw him, and it's frustrating. But the judge basically sits and explains in detail and says, "Look, you're going to be like a three-legged dog in a, never mind. We're not going to use those analogies.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You've got a serious hindrance to your success, because everything that a lawyer could do and do very well, you're going to have to do on your own while you're doing everything else. And you don't know the system.
Absolutely.
You don't know how to issue subpoenas. You don't know how to question witnesses. You don't know how to do all these things, make a motion before the court properly so it can be considered, for a hearing or anything else. You're just on your own. And they spell it out with him, and they say, "Look, please listen, pay attention."
This is not the place to learn law.
No.
I mean, you don't go to trial to learn how to do this, and that's kind of what some of the questions that he has had for the judge or the rebuttals to the judge's decision. It's like, well, you need to tell me why I can't do that. Well, no, I don't. That's what you would have learned if you'd gone to law school. This is not law school. Trial by fire is what comes to mind.
Yeah, it's to his credit, Mr. Frock clearly has picked up a lot of stuff through his experience in the legal system. And probably because he's been through so many times, he has so many cases pending, he's picked up a little bit along the way. Unfortunately, by the time he gets to the end of all these, he's not going to have many more options left, right? He's going to have a rap sheet that's growing in length. He's sort of compounding problems as he goes along, and really, he's doing okay. I mean, better than most people who defend themselves. He's doing better than most people.
Yeah. You can tell that he's watched either a lot of trial TV or been through a lot of trials himself.
I think it's the latter.
He should have watched the Maya trial. He could have picked up some really good tips.
Yeah. Ugly Betty, 100%
okay, listen,
with you.
I'm gonna let you. Yep. I'm gonna let you go. You probably got other people calling. It was just good talking to you, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Same to you. Appreciate
Hope everything goes great for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good to hear you.
All right.
We'll see you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Man, this school of hard knocks that Mr. Farrak is currently walking through and learning from, it's very educational, but unfortunately, it's a lesson learned the hard way every single time. So he's got some of the motions down. He knows. I mean, he's had other judges recused from cases. Okay, he's been able to file motions appropriately to get things going his way, or at least get force the court to do something which he wanted. So he knows a little bit. And it's helping a little bit, but it's not enough for the entire picture. He can't manage his own defense entirely. But he argued successfully previously in front of the judge that this is what he wanted. And he convinced the judge that he was of sound mind. He was capable of this. He knew the restrictions he would be putting on himself and the difficulty that was to present to himself. And he said, I'm going to do it anyway. And I'd like to exercise that right. And the judge said, based on what you said, we're going to allow it. Let's see. Did I miss that call? Come back. Where'd it go? Oh, it dropped off. Sorry. Let's see. It's his own choice. I don't feel sorry for him at all. It is his own choice. He fought for this. Now this is a right. This is like you think of like the freedom of speech, the First Amendment, right? Hang on 1 second.
Call from
Robert.
Robert, this is RA. How are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good, buddy. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving, first of all.
Thank you. To you as well.
I'm on my way to Texas for it, so.
All right. What's
all right?
How far is the drive for you when you say on your way to Texas? That's a long drive.
Yeah, I drive truck. So.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm coming out of Chicago with it, so I'll be down here in about 8 hours.
So are you going to be back in time for Thanksgiving, or is it a quick turnaround, or are you going to be out of state?
Nope, I'm going to be down there for Thanksgiving, unfortunately. Away from family, celebrating alone.
Bummer. Get yourself a good meal and call them on the phone. I think that's the best you can do at that point.
Oh, yeah, I will, definitely. Man, I can't help but laugh at this guy. I'm sitting in my truck driving down the highway. It's like, that's not a good argument.
It's sad a little bit because it's his own future that he's gambling with. But,
yeah, it is really sad.
but it's a lesson to all of us. I mean, so many times we think, hey, I've been around this. Like, we've watched how many trials together. I know the process now, right? Yeah. I know how the process goes with evidence and the pretrial motions and the motion in limine and how to actually talk before the judge and the order people talk in. And you know, I know that intellectually, but there's no way in my right mind I would want to defend myself in court for anything. It's just not smart.
Even with me, I have paralegal, studies under my belt. I still don't want to support them.
Yeah. It's crazy. He chose poorly. You're probably not seeing this. I just put a poll up in chat. Will the defendant return from lunch? Is the poll? It's a yes, no. I think he's a runner.
If you see him again, I will be surprised.
Yeah. Man, we thought he was going to get. There was one point where he almost went to jail for contempt. He was literally insulting the judge.
I thought when he got argumentative and for the third time started bringing in race into the, I was waiting for it, and the judge kicked the jury out. That's where I thought it was going to go, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, at least he took the correction then. He didn't before. I mean, there are times before he's told the judge, I'll listen, but I'm not going to agree. At least when the judge stopped him when he started getting into race, and the judge said, hey, this territory is off limits and highly inappropriate. You're not going to do that. At least he mostly took that in. But then he came back up.
Right back to it.
he sort of glazed over it and then talked about kids. He
worded it a little more artfully the second time, but I was still like, you're really going to go right back to it like that?
I think the judge probably had the gavel in hand. He's like,
right.
just say the word, man, and I'll chuck this thing at you. It was going to be.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I don't want to tie up the phone line too long. I just thought, I'd call in. I have nothing better to do. I'm driving on the road. Good listening to it.
Well, awesome. So stay safe on your drive. Appreciate you doing the hard work so that all of us can get our Black Friday deals on day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, y'all want any air fresheners? Walmart in Texas is about to get 30,000.
Wow. So that's where to be.
Well, 30,000 pounds of them, I should
Holy
say.
cow, that's a lot of air fresheners.
That's what I'm taking down there.
Well, awesome. So. Well, thank you very much, Robert. Be safe. Good to hear from you.
Hey, you too. Bye, guys.
Bye. Let's see. After lunch is a big moment. He won't miss that, in my opinion. I think he will be back. I think he will. It's the only chance he gets. I think we're going to see more stalling from him, and we've seen this throughout the day. He's said several times that he wants to delay this. He's asked the judge, why don't you just continue this? Continue, actually, in legal terms, means don't continue. It's a sort of a misnomer. Continue it means to push the court date out to another time. He said, Judge, why don't you continue this, and we can do this later. He wants it delayed. He's already had it delayed for 2.5 years. Chris, where did I hear about the case? One of my great mods put a link in my mod chat saying, hey, keep an eye out for this. It's coming up. And I saw it and said immediately, this is one we need to follow because we've seen him before. So we've got, he'll be back this afternoon. The judge is insistent that we're going to wrap this up today, which would be really cool to see have happen. All right. So this came from Sharon, by the way, one of our amazing mods. And I would like to keep an eye out for next week's trial as well, because he'll be back in court next week, probably with the same judge. We're going to close the poll here and see what the results are as far as coming back from lunch. It's a close one. 58% said yes, he's going to return. 41% say no. And as always, YouTube takes that 1% and loses them somewhere in between. If this wraps up today, what do we have for tomorrow? Probably a little Thanksgiving stream. This is going to wrap up today. I'm confident the judge is going to move this along. Because here's what we're going to see. We're going to see him coming back and stalling. Let's see. Killjoy here. Could you check the family Google Calendar? Oh, my goodness. I'm busted. That's what it is. problem. Mrs. R.A., do you want to borrow my purple shirt? So here's what we have. I completely forgot. Today is the 21st, and we've got tickets to a basketball game. In Greenville at ECU. I've got to take 3 of my kids. I get to take 3 of my kids. It's going to be fun. No, I'm the one that planned it. This is the funny thing. I'm the one who put it on the agenda, which means we may have to delay this and watch the rest tomorrow. Man, because it starts soon. I can give you the link to where to watch it. I'd like to watch it with you as well, though. What I would do is I'd give you the link and then I would record it or save it, because the problem with this court is they live stream it on YouTube and then they delete it. Okay, and once it's up for a little while and then they delete the old stuff and it's gone. So at the end of the trial, suddenly all the videos just disappear. So positive vibes. I can if you want to watch this live, I'll do this. Let me pull this up. Copy. That's not it. View your channel. There's the live stream. Here's chat. Okay, so this link right here that I just put on the screen, this is the Thurston County Court, and it's court number 4, District Court number 4 that this is in, and it is live. You said they're live right now? No, can't be live right now. Nope, not live now. So if you go to this page and you click on their home screen, they only have one video, and it's basically a jury service walkthrough. Here's what to do to show up for court. It's the only video they have. If you click on their live tab, the only videos there are this trial, this jury trial. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different segments so far. You have no problem waiting until tomorrow. All right, we're gonna do that then, because it's gonna be a long break here. And thank you, Mrs. R.A., for helping me. My friend who got me the tickets, I would probably be glad that I showed up to use them, because they're very, very nice tickets, and I'm very appreciative to him. Promise no yelling tonight, so you can do the hump day yell tomorrow. Oh, man. I'm going to be like, yay, go team, yay, sport. It's going to be fun. Hope someone is recording this to send to Law Talk with Mike. Yes, I'm sure they are. He keeps a close eye on Thurston County. And currently all the videos are available. I mean, you can literally rip them all right now. You could download them now. So we're going to watch tomorrow. That'll give us something tomorrow. No, you have to stay with us and neglect your real family. I'm selfish, says Chris. Chris, thanks for sharing your opinion. It got overruled by Mrs. R.A., though. No cheering at the game tonight. Oh, I'll make sure it's going to be recorded. It's funny that if you have a YouTube Premium membership, you can go to a video and you can click the download button. If you download it, it doesn't actually download it the way you think. It sort of saves it locally on your computer, but you can only access that as long as the original poster keeps the original video up. So you might download it to your computer and then say, using the YouTube download button, and then the original poster deletes it. YouTube takes that download away from you. It's gone. So you actually have to be careful how you download it, so you have a physical copy instead of using that. So just a heads up. Let's see, look for a clip of the hump day yell. I might have to do that if I lose my voice tonight. Hooray, sports ball. Yes. I'm never winning the internet again, says Adam. Let's see. Yep, always happens to me with Emily Baker. Members only, BTS podcast recording. Let's see. I think we're going to wrap it up here on that note. So where it's at, I think in 45 minutes they're going to start again, and we're going to pick up with the ending of the case. She deletes them after recording. Yeah. I might take my laptop with me to the game. I think there's Wi-Fi there. I think otherwise I can use my phone and just burn through all my data because I never go anywhere. I'm going to make sure I keep the copy of what's happened because I don't want them to delete it. I need to have a copy of this, a clean, normal speed copy, so we can play it tomorrow. Yes, if you're not going to join us tomorrow, first of all, shame on you. No, just kidding. Second of all, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Tomorrow, in addition to this last bit of court, we're going to go over and basically just I'm going to say nice things about y'all. That's what I was going to be. I'll probably get emotional because talking about this has been an amazing experience for me, and it's because of you. And so we'll talk about that tomorrow. I have to watch Rob with Whitney while you're at the game. I'll have to bring my earbuds and just sort of. Will you be able to take your laptop inside? Sure. I would just carry it. I mean, they don't like bags and stuff, but I think they'll allow me to bring it in. No, don't take the laptop. Just spend time with the kids. That's also reasonable. When does court restart? 45 minutes is going to restart on that link. Did you guys all get the link before we wrap up tonight? Here's the link one more time. This is for the Thurston County courtroom. It's court number 4. I think there are 4 different courts in Thurston County that have YouTube channels. And the link's right here. Got it right here for you. Okay. All right, that's decided then. So spend time with your family. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to change because it's like 100 degrees in my room here, this office. If you can't tell, I'm sweating to death. So I'll have to either get the fan or something. But we'll have the game tonight. I'm gonna monitor and be with Rob probably right after the game. I think the game will end right about the time Rob's live stream starts because it's an early game. Remember to bring your tissues for Ari's Thanksgiving speech. Pretend your media won't be the first time. Adam, this is funny you say that. I have only been to one college sport game, sporting event that where I sat in the stands. Everything in the last 10 years since I've been a cameraman on the side, and it is so weird to actually watch the game from the stands instead of from the sidelines. I mean, when you say I can trip a referee, I have tripped referees. I've been there. I've had NBA stars, people like Damian Lillard literally crash into me and my camera and send us sprawling across the floor. It's I've been right there in the action, and it was so fun to watch sports from that close up. And just literally be involved in the whole thing and have the control of the Zoom and where the camera goes and follow the reactions and see the crowd. It's very different being back in the stands again and watching that way. So, all right. So I've given out the link. Maybe somebody can take that link and also post it maybe in the Facebook page or something if people need it to watch it tonight. But we're going to go ahead and restream it tomorrow as well. And other than that, let's do this. Oh man, it's been a fun day. Wow, Sharon, thank you so much, Sharon, for this for the tip about this trial. We were looking for a quick trial that we could follow as we were waiting for things to start. Tomorrow morning, I think we'll start. Let's start at 8:30. Does that work? Because we won't have any live feed to worry about. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate you. You are absolutely fantastic. You, along with all of our mods, are just wonderful. Post it in chat. I'll post it one more time in chat right here. There it is. There's the link one more time in chat for this case. It will continue tonight. We're going to follow it tomorrow, so we won't miss anything. If you don't watch tonight, we'll just watch it together, and you never know how it's going to end. This pro se stuff is just nuts. Cindy M., thank you very much for being here. First time, welcome. It's wonderful to have you joining us. Have a great afternoon. Thomas, thank you. We're going to miss the podcast tonight, by the way. Or not tonight, but no podcast this week because of Thanksgiving. For those of you that will not be back later tomorrow, or tonight. I guess we're done for the day. So tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe to go live again. It'll be tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. First person in chat, as always, wins the internet. Adam, you did a great job today, by the way. Thank you. Good work. Trial's not over. We're going to watch the rest of it tomorrow morning because I have a basketball game with my kids I have to go to. And it's going to be awesome. So thank you. Have a great evening. I appreciate this. This is the best place to watch true crime on YouTube. It's because all of you would not be the same without you. Have a good day. Have a good night. Be good to each other. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.